It is 6 o'clock. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. A big news day yesterday, starting with the Tennessee Titans trading cornerback Jarvis Brownley Jr. and a 2026 seventh-round draft pick to the New York Jets in exchange for a 2026 sixth-round draft pick. Brownley was a fifth-round pick back in 2024 last season and became a starter for the Tennessee Titans. Also, Titans head coach Brian Callahan announced yesterday that he would be giving up his play-calling duties to quarterbacks coach Bo Hardegree. Hardegree has some experience calling plays with the Las Vegas Raiders when he took over when Josh McDaniels was fired back in 2023 and helped the Raiders finish the season 5-4 in the final 9 games, averaging 22.9 points per game and 308 yards per game. In other NFL news, the New York Giants are making a change at quarterback, benching Russell Wilson in favor of rookie Jackson Dart, whom they drafted 25th overall in this year's draft. The Giants are 0-3 to start the season. In college football news yesterday, Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer had suffered a broken bone in his thumb on his throwing hand against Auburn this past Saturday. Mateer did have surgery on it yesterday, and Mateer is expected to miss about a month. Tennessee Vols play Oklahoma Saturday, November 1st. And Oklahoma State have fired head coach Mike Gundy after 2 decades at the helm in Stillwater. Gundy is the winningest coach in Oklahoma State football history. The Cowboys have started the season 1-2. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into your Wednesday morning. Welcome to the middle of your week. And welcome into Ramon and Will. Fueled by Scooters Coffee, the VFL Vol Network analyst and former Pittsburgh Steeler Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins makes the show happen. I'm Will Bowling. So the Titans did a couple of pretty surprising things yesterday. One of them much more surprising. The other one maybe more significant. Jarvis Brownley got traded. That was the surprise. We'll talk about that in hour one. And Brian Callahan gave up play calling duties to quarterback coach Bo Hardegree. Ramon Foster, the play caller on offense for the Tennessee Titans, lived in Gibbs Hall.
Yes, he did.
At the University of Tennessee and went to Jackson Central Mary High School.
JCM.
Lots to discuss this morning. Bill Connolly joins us at 8:20. Rhett Bryan at 9, 615-737-1045. Good morning.
My former teammate, Bo Hardegree.
That's right.
On the same team at him and Daniel Brooks, man.
They were a package deal.
Yes, they were a package deal. Rest in peace, Daniel Brooks. But they came in together. I think Bo's dad was the coach. Bo was the quarterback. Daniel Brooks was a 5-star linebacker, came in. And Bo was a guy. He was always a smart guy. He was always a guy that played his role well, man. So, listen, you may not draft many Vols players here. But you got 2 on staff now between him and Luke Stocker, Bo wasn't a teammate with Luke. Luke is younger. But, yeah, what a change. I ain't going to say I didn't see it coming, but I didn't expect it to be announced like that yesterday.
I thought we might hear about it today.
Yeah.
But we talked about it yesterday in the first hour of the show. Once Brian Callahan was asked about giving up play calling duties Monday and answered with an ambiguous answer. You thought things might go this way. It was the first time, Ramon, he had never just immediately shot that down and made the comment of, we're analyzing everything at 0-3.
Yeah. He said everything's up for it, right? Everything's up for evaluation. That was a sign. It probably, sitting down, discussing it, making a hard decision. I'm not sure if he met with ownership beforehand or Burke Nyhill or whoever to discuss the plan and pathway to get to this point. But I was frantically looking around like this is really happening. It really is happening. And I got a strong take on it, I think, or a solid take on it as we go in this show a little bit more. Were you ready for it now?
Let's hear from Brian Callahan first. The opening statement, the initial bullet points on why he is giving up play calling duties and quarterbacks coach Bo Hardegree is taking them.
So I said yesterday, a lot of things under evaluation and a lot of things that you self-reflect on at the start that we've had so far and things that we got to get better at. And one of the things that I think is going to help our football team, help me be a better head coach for our team, is I'm going to hand over the play calling to Bo. And part of that process is and part of the decision making in that process is that Bo's been had some interim experience calling. He's been on the rookie quarterback before. That part of it will make it a little bit seamless in that regard. The other part of it is that our offensive staff and our game planning process and system is going to remain in place. It's still a collaborative process. We rely on everybody to do their part. Nick is still the offensive coordinator. He'll still maintain his same exact routine and process that he's gone through to help me. And then Bo is going to step in as a play caller on Sunday. It'll allow me to do a little more with our team and with all three phases. Pay more time and attention to those things and less in the weeds of getting ready to game plan. And one of the things I told the team and told the players after our game is that, look, everyone owns a mirror, right? We can all look at it. We can all see where we need to be better and what can help us be better. And I think this is one of the best things for us at the moment to help me do a better job as a head coach and be more present and available for the football team and less involved in just the day-to-day minutia of getting ready to call a game. So I think it's going to be positive for us. I think it'll help. And I think at the end of the day, too, for our players, it's the same thing. As if there's nothing I love more than offensive game planning and calling plays. And for me to be able to do this for the betterment of our team and to put us in better position, I think we should get the same from everybody that's involved in the process.
Titans head coach Brian Callahan yesterday giving up responsibilities, calling the offense to quarterback coach Bo Hardigree. What's your initial take, Ramon, to what he had to say?
He looked relieved. I thought that was the biggest thing, watching him say and give his opening statement on giving up the play calling duties. He looked like he had a weight dropped off of him, like legitimately. I was just like, oh, this is different. I didn't expect him to look like this. I thought he was going to go down kicking and fighting with the idea of having to relinquish power at play calling in a sense. But he said it too. The management, the day-to-day, being the head coach, the actual head coach of a job, that's hard. So being able to do that and still be involved is the best thing for him. Absolutely the best thing for him. No doubt about it.
I know it will feel to fans like a shot at the buzzer, kind of like a halftime prayer, like a final chance to make all of these things work and processes work. I'm very interested to see if the Titans can kind of get a little bit of momentum from this and fresh eyes on the in-game situations, on the timing that comes with play calling. I made a comparison about this to somebody the other day talking about this that I'm curious your thoughts on. You know how with Tom Brady as a broadcaster, we talked about how he's going to have to get used to the shot clock?
Yeah.
So Tom Brady, and you could talk about this too as a color analyst now talking about games with about 20 seconds on the play clock. There is a timing that comes with seeing the last play, analyzing the game situation, and getting your thoughts out to Mike Keith on the Vol Network in about a 15 to 20 second span. We talked about that with Tom Brady on Fox last year. He struggled to advance conversations and tell us something we didn't know in the 20 seconds he was given with Kevin Burkhardt. However, when Tom Brady was on with Colin Cowherd last year on his longer form interviews on Fox and he could give a 4-minute answer, he is as good and as smart of a football mind as anybody out there talking about the game and talking about the NFL. The same, I think, goes for coaches. I think Brian Callahan has struggled to get in the right call in the right situation in about a 20 to 30 second span. And I think they've got a lot of cooks in the kitchen, to be quite honest with you, between Bo Hardigree, who's been on the sideline talking with Cam, and Nick Holtz up in the press box. I think the delineation of responsibilities here has a chance to work. And I think the fact now that you have a play caller with experience that we're going to get into with Bo Hardigree, and you have Brian Callahan now who can remove himself from the 20 to 30 seconds and be more big picture, let's see how it impacts his perspective on the game and his perspective on what to call and when. Because Brian's still going to have a role to play, but not having to get that out before the shot clock expires, before every play is ready, could be a really good thing for this team.
You know what I think? To add to that, this was at first, about 2-3 weeks ago, I said, if you give up the play calling, he's done. Callahan's a coach in 2026.
You are taking a 180.
He's not going anywhere.
Why do you think that?
One, the person that he gave it to. I didn't expect Bo. I wasn't looking for Bo Hardigree to be the guy that was going to call plays. Bo has been in this position before. This right here makes him look smarter, with going with a guy that has some experience in it. And I also add this to the fact that we spoke about what's the main thing in all of this rebuild. Who is the main character in this rebuild?
Quarterback Cam Ward.
Quarterback Cam Ward. We talked it through last week. If you let go of Callahan, you got to scrap everything that Cam ingested this entire rookie year. Cam will go into year 2 with zero stability whatsoever. Cameron Ward would go into second year with having to learn a brand new offense, which would essentially make him a rookie quarterback again. Not just him. His wide receivers will have to learn new routes, new options, new reads of the offense and defense. His offensive line coaches would absolutely change too. He would have to have running backs know the protections of everything that has to happen for him also. The structure of the team, if you find Coach Callahan, would be totally different. Do you want to go to a defensive coach? I know we differ on this one. I think they have to go.
I don't think we do. I just think it's just go get the best coach if you need a coach.
Understood.
Regardless of who it is.
He has put a shield up and also employed somebody to be a better person than he is as far as play calling. It may end up being Bo Hardegree. But what he's done is this. I think the ownership really likes Coach Brian Callahan. I really do think that. I'm with you. I do think that Coach Callahan can be an even better coach if given the opportunity to be a head coach.
You think he's cut out for this, being a head coach?
In all the stuff that has happened, and we've heard players back him up, he hasn't lost the locker room.
I agree.
Jeff.
I totally agree about that. He has there every week.
So if you're telling me he has the culture that you want inside of the building, but he sucks as a play caller. He sucks as a play caller and decision maker. Best thing to do is relieve him of that and let him delegate and oversee everything. I honestly do think after looking at that press conference yesterday and hearing it also, they like what Brian Callahan is as a coach. I'll also add this. I do think there are probably more offensive changes that are going to happen.
We'll get back to the play calling discussion in an hour or two. We'll talk about it a lot more at 7 o'clock. But, Ramon, when we come back, there's another big move the Titans made yesterday. They traded Jarvis Brownley. And this was equally surprising. Well, no, it was more surprising. More surprising of a move, as maybe surprising as the timing of the play calling decision. We are live for the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'll talk about the Titans' big trade they made yesterday coming up next.
It's Ramon and Will here for Window Nation. Will, the weather is about to change really, really soon, man. And the best thing you can do to keep the heat in and just keep your light bill and energy bill low is to trade out those old windows that you have, man. You probably got some builder grade ones, but it's time to get it done before it gets super cold outside. You can get some top quality, energy efficient windows from a trusted company like Window Nation, man. Window Nation knows this too. They know replacing your windows is an investment, and they simply want to make it affordable for you.
And they've got a flash sale going on until the end of the month. You can save big here in September. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free. Plus, Window Nation's going to throw in even more. An extra 10% off, plus no interest for 2 years. So make no payments for 2 years. Get that additional 10% off. And buy 2 windows, get 2 free. You won't have to deal with monthly payments, a down payment, or interest until 2027. With over 45,000 5-star reviews, Window Nation, they are the folks that we would trust. 866-90-NATION, the number, or head online to windownation.com. Schedule a fast free estimate now with the pros at Window Nation, online at windownation.com. Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. The race to 20,000 subscribers underway at the 104.5 The Zone YouTube channel. Getting closer. I want to be there by the end of football season.
Maybe some people don't know how to do it.
If you go to youtube.com/1045 The Zone TV, go to the bottom of our beautiful faces and just click subscribe. It's free and it takes about 5 seconds. You're not going to get any emails. It literally just helps us. And then when you go to YouTube, we populate at the top of your feed immediately, where we belong, at the top of your feed.
I mean, it's easy, Will. Like, it doesn't cost a thing.
You can burn a calorie on your index finger as you click.
I hate begging. I feel like I'm begging at this point. I feel like this Titans fan base is begging a little bit, too, for answers, though.
Fueled by Scooters Coffee, we've got the Caramelicious blend going this morning.
It's so good.
It is fantastic.
It is.
I literally, every time I take the first sip of it, I make a sound or a noise that's involuntary. I'm just like, oh, that's tremendous. I did right before we went on. I took a sip of it and was like, that's good. And seriously, we love it. We love partnering with people that legitimately make good products and are great people to work with. And Scooters Coffee is absolutely that. Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet, where you go by and pick some up. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. So the Titans are sending second-year corner Jarvis Brownley and a 2026 seventh-round pick to the New York Jets in exchange for a 2026 sixth-round pick. Ramon, does this make sense?
To me, it does, yeah. It does, absolutely. This is, in my personal opinion, the real just in front of your face incorporation of rebuild. Everything that they're doing now is trying to cycle out guys that they have questions about that may not fit the mold of what they want them to be. Smart players, guys that physically may not look and be how they want them to look also. And they're trying to rebuild this team as fast and as quick as they possibly can. As Jarvis Brownley, as young as he is, may not be the type that this staff, maybe Borgonzi wanted, and he'd rather go ahead and get some trade value now for a team that need a little bit of help over there.
Is year two enough time, though, to have big enough questions about a player to get rid of a starter?
You got to also look at what Jarvis Brownley was, too. Problematic defensively, getting penalties and stuff like that. I know he was cleaner in week 2 than he was in week 1. But, again, your value is up, and maybe he wanted out, too. Who was coming in this past week? Who's really elevated? Golly.
Jalen Armour-Davis.
Jalen Armour-Davis. Yeah, Jalen
That was my
Armour-Davis.
first thought was, I don't know if you do this trade if you weren't at least somewhat encouraged by what you saw from Jalen Armour-Davis in the game on Sunday. Jalen Armour-Davis is not someone who's been healthy a lot in his career, and clearly they have a plan for him they feel like is going to keep him on the field. This one's a head-scratcher to me, Ramon, because what you are saying can be true, that Jarvis Brownley maybe wasn't a fit, and we'll get to a little bit more on that in a minute because we kind of talked about this with a different player last week. But the value is still not good. To be honest with you, I think it is really surprising how little they got in return.
Okay.
And when I saw Jarvis Brownley traded for a late-round pick, like, okay, so they probably got like a sixth for him. But to have to give up a seventh in the process as well, they gain no additional draft capital. They just move up maybe 20 to 30 spots or 15 to 20 spots from the 7th round to the 6th round with getting this. This is a head-scratcher to me. I'm going to need to hear more from Brian Callahan and from, just talking to people this week to understand it, because I'm having more trouble wrapping my head around this move than the move they made on play calling yesterday. No doubt.
Somebody asked in the chat, how do players look at this type of situation? If Borgonzi really does have his fingerprints, and also Reggie McKenzie is playing hard in this too. I feel like the way they're going to evaluate players coming in and out of this building. But I'll stay with Borgonzi because he's a head honcho when it comes down to setting the roster. I feel like he's going to have a type that's going to look a little bit different than the players who are here right now. I feel like the way you see this team being built up is going to be through these small trades right here, accumulation of picks, and trying to get as many as they possibly can. I do know that is one of Chad Brinker's mindsets. We want as many hits at the plate if we possibly can. I think Jarvis Brownlee satisfies that, knowing that he was potentially going to be a guy that you weren't going to keep over the long haul. Or maybe, let's say they want a 6'1" cornerback. You want a big, fast, physical team, especially if you don't have the rushers. Jarvis is 5'9", 5'10", if I'm not mistaken. That matters to those types of players. Being able to high point the ball when you have an outside corner. Maybe they look at Jarvis Brownlee. Maybe he looked at Jarvis Brownlee as not a DB2, more of a more of a nickel guy, more of a slot guy, and you have that guy in Roger McCreary. I just don't see that.
Yeah.
Then you look at Jalen Armour Davis. He's sitting at 6'1", 200 pounds. I think the personnel type for this team is going to change. I legitimately do say and look at this team the way it's set up. When somebody asks me the question in the chat, how do players look at this?
Yeah.
I think players look at this and say, I better either make a crap ton of plays or be the type of player that Mike Borgonzi wants on his roster.
It certainly sends a message to the locker room
Yes.
that there is a new type. What did we say last week, Ramon, about T'Vondre Sweat?
You got to buy into the system.
And I was some people did not agree with me and with us in the FNM Big Chat about it when I made the point that guys that were not drafted by the new GM have to go the extra mile to prove that the new GM should keep them around. And when we said that about T'Vondre Sweat, and I think the type of player, and let's just be honest, the type of character and personality that he is, that I don't think would have been drafted by Mike Borgonzi. I wasn't thinking about Jarvis Brownlee, but it applied to that whole draft class. So we made the point then that this applies to everyone drafted in 2024 and earlier by the Tennessee Titans. Regardless of if Chad Brinker was there when they were drafted or not, the Mike Borgonzi type is different.
Yep.
Ramon, this is the cost of change. The cost of change means you trade players below what their value probably says you should get back for them because you don't have the leverage anymore when that player's not your quote-unquote type of player. I genuinely believe, and this is why, again, we talk about how this is kind of year one of the rebuild, even though to the fan base it's not. For Mike Borgonzi, it is. The type changed this offseason of the type of player the Tennessee Titans want to have. Now, let's question that then, though, Ramon, because how successful can you be with so narrow of a type of player that a guy who was a fifth-round pick, played himself into a starting role, started 14 games last year, is a little bit in your face, is going to push the lines a little bit. Don't you want a little bit of that still on your football team, even if your type is changing?
You know what you also want? Smart. Jarvis Brownlee goes after that Denver game and says, look, I'm going to play how I want to play. Like, you don't want to say that out loud. You want players that adjust and pivot off of what they were. And I don't think they were going to get that out of him because, again, he runs hot. He's a guy that wants to be in the mix. Heck, he tweeted at Zaire Franklin before the game on Friday and called him a clown publicly. Like, you don't want that to be a part of your squad when you are a team that's below the line when it comes to the type of quality you have and how hard it is for you to win football games. I love the idea that he is an attacking guy. I heard somebody yesterday call in on 3HL and was like, man, he, to me, is what the old Titans were. He was tough. He was loud. He was aggressive. That's the problem. The game is a whole lot smarter. You can be all of those things and still be a playmaker and not hurt your team in moments right there, too. Look at the way, honestly, look at the way Kansas City is set up as a team. You know they got some dogs. Chris Jones is one of the best to do it. Patrick Mahomes is also very aggressive. They got tight ends and wide receivers that go make plays for them, but do you ever hear them making headlines? You don't. Like, the ways that you want your Titan team to be of pass, I think you got to somewhat move on from that because you got a guy that's never been inside of this building that comes from a different perspective on how you play the game of football. You want smart. You want physical. You want, I think, big and long. I think you want those types of players, and I think it's going to take a minute. So why not trade away a guy that you can go ahead and get an earlier pick, albeit you lose air quotation mark starter. Like on most teams, I don't know if Jarvis Brownlee is going to be a starter the way that he was here. And let's be honest about that too. Like I was somewhat shocked at the idea that he was. I thought they would go grab somebody else. And then the other players that you drafted in or brought in from the draft this year too. Like, again, look at the body types. Longer guys, athletic, speed. I don't think speed was a huge part of Jarvis Brownlee's game. Physicality was. His ability to be aggressive. It's in hindsight, we can see these types of things as the why, in my personal opinion. But I simply do think it results to the type of player that you want out there. Even L'Jarius Sneed is a long, slender, fast guy for what Kansas City is as a defense. When Kansas City went out and got a safety like Eric Reed, he was the exact same thing, smart, multifaceted, physical, still. But he wasn't a detriment to your team.
I think if you didn't have Roger McCreary, Jarvis Brownlee would probably still be on the team.
I agree.
I think this also could signal how the organization feels about McCreary as someone they want to keep around, because Jarvis Brownlee was drafted to be a slot corner. He's 5'10", 194, physical at the point of attack. Well, the Titans have a pretty good slot corner in Roger McCreary.
He's good at it.
Absolutely. I think my main issue on this is just what you got back in return.
I'm with you there.
I could understand the idea that, hey, there's a new sheriff in town. The penalties were an issue. Jim Wyatt referenced on 3HL yesterday that there may be some more off the field going on here about this than what we know. And that's kind of where I fall on this. When a move like this is made that is so surprising, these aren't dumb people. And I don't think this is a dumb decision by any stretch of the imagination. I never want to insinuate they're stupid people. I mean, all 32 teams have smart people, but I feel like there's got to be more to this story. And so I'm going to reserve total judgment until we hear Brian Callahan speak about it today, because he will address the media again today. I think more will come out. And I have no inside knowledge of anything. Like, I haven't seen anything firsthand. Stephen Godfrey made the point last week. Sometimes we say, I think, and it's because we know something behind the scenes. Sometimes we just say we think something because we're speculating. This time I'm saying I'm thinking something because I'm speculating, that I think there's more to meets the eye than just, hey, this is a player that doesn't fit our style of play anymore that we wanted to get out of the room.
I got another one.
Okay.
I actually think Tavondre's in that boat.
Tavondre Sweat?
Yep.
What surprised me?
It wouldn't shock me if Tavondre was traded. It would not shock me at all, because you telling me 2 weeks ago, going into the game, Tavondre Sweat said, I'm going to play.
It was last week.
Last week. My bad. Weeks getting blurred here.
That's right. You're a little busy.
Tavondre said, I'm going to play if it's up to me. What happened?
Re-injured it, according to reports.
Re-injured it. Okay. It could be true.
No, that is true.
Okay.
That's what happened.
But you look at even his situation, the way this second year has gone for him. Hadn't had the impact of practices that you wanted him to have.
He's not been out there.
I'll think this. It made it easier for him to put himself on IR in that situation. You preserve him, trade deadline is Halloween, potentially could be back by then. But again, we talk a little bit offline. I won't go much further than this, but the way this team in totality transformed his bodies, the way J.C. Latham looks like a totally different person. They went after tackle, whether you like him or not, and Dan Moore, that's slender, athletic, can move. Peter Skoronski changed himself around. Jeff, poster boy for changing himself around. They went after, what's his name, from Denver, DeJuan Jones. DeJuan Jones. No, not DeJuan Jones. The defensive
DJ
end.
Jones.
DJ Jones. No. From the edge player here. Golly, what is his name? From Denver.
Draymond.
54.
Draymond Jones.
That's
from
Seattle.
I had the D's.
Yeah. Seattle.
Draymond.
Seahawk.
Physical, fit. Like, everything fits the mold. Cody, same exact thing. Physical,
and they've
fit.
gone on the record about that. The lean muscle, they want guys that they believe players are more available when they have less fat.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, for lack of a better term, they are on the record with that they feel like being more slender and being a bit more cut is of the best interest for them long term.
Absolutely. That one, I got my eye on that one. I wouldn't be surprised either if that happened.
I wouldn't either. I agree. So the larger point to be made here, Bone, is, again, what you said about Brian Callahan and what you said about change. It gets harder and harder to put together a rebuild and put together an identity of a team when that identity changes every year. These are the kinds of moves that you have to make. Like, it's not Mike Morganzi's problem that he had a corner that doesn't fit what he wants in a corner and doesn't fit probably what off the field they want in a football player in that locker room. Like, you've got to do what's best for you and your vision for the franchise. And the growing pains of dealing with it in the short term might not be in the best interest of him and of the organization.
Yeah.
Now, we can, argue about if they should have waited to get more or if they could have, again, I think those are all fair criticisms, but ultimately, yeah, when your type changes this often, you are forced to make moves where you don't have the leverage and you get back less in return than what you would have liked originally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you are at this point. And no, it's not a one-to-one comparison to say the same thing about head coach. And if the head coach doesn't perform and doesn't make adjustments and this offense continues to be one of the worst in the league, I mean, there's going to be a change made there too, and everyone knows that. But I'm not saying you force continuity just for the sake of continuity, but there is value, Ramon, in having the same identity over time and having the same people making the decisions in the room year over year.
Yeah.
And this move is the best example of that.
It is. And we've had this conversation of when does a real true reset happens? There's been so much blending to your point of what you just made.
Yeah.
What you just said, you've went from head coach to GM, GM to head coach. Oh, now we got a president. What is a roster management guy? There's been so many different
this is the full
parts.
reset. Right.
This is, to your point, I think this is where the true reset has actually happened, where you start removing players and trying to plan for the future. As it stands right now, you're picking in the top 5. You love for that to change, but this year in particular, I would almost guess that if a team wants to move up, the Titans would absolutely move back.
100%. I mean, at this point, you are no longer 1 foot in, 1 foot out to rebuilding. I mean, in 2024, the Titans were rebuilding, and they traded for L'Jarius Sneed, giving up a third-round pick for a second straight year, the same way they did to go draft Will Levis. And they also signed Calvin Ridley to a monster contract, went out and got Tony Pollard. They spent major money because they felt like they could compete last year. Yeah. That is the biggest difference in that front office is this year there are expectations that this is going to take longer than just throw a bunch of money at big money free agents and go trade for a veteran corner and here we go.
Exactly.
Let's go compete for the AFC South.
It's fascinating, and it's a great point to be made here. I see in our chat, it's just caught my eye real quick. Somebody said, and that 6th-round pick might suck.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. But the 6th-round picks that you have this year are, Marcus Harris, Khalil Mullins. Also behind that, you got 2 4th-round picks and wide receivers, Shemray Dike and Alec Ayumena.
Yeah, the early returns of the drafts on this draft class are good.
Yeah.
It's too early to give any sort of, confidence to those statements to say that they're either great or bad, any of the picks you've made. You just need more time. But so far, yeah, I think they did a really good job with this draft class.
And the other part of that, too, is this. You say those 6th-rounders might suck, but here's the thing about it. I don't think this franchise, with them having to pour money into the actual build of that stadium, wants to be paying out of pocket for brand new, expensive free agents. You're going to have to, if we're speaking about building up a culture, we speak of core guys in the NFL when it comes down to rosters. Core guys are your 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks, and also your undrafted guys. You need a crap ton of those.
But I think that's the issue is you just traded one of your core guys. Honestly, you drafted a corner in the 5th round, he became a starter, and then you got a 6th back for him.
I look at his situation as if that was an old regime that picked him.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I've kind of got. Yeah, no, I mean I agree. I'm not going to say I have foot in both camps. I don't love the move.
I feel you
based on the value, but I understand where the vision of the franchise has changed to want to make changes like this, and I'm willing to reserve full judgment until I hear more from Brian Callahan and more from the team about why they did this, because I feel like there is more to the story than what meets the eye. So I'm not going to totally judge this and rake them over the coals for it until I hear the justification.
Yeah.
I'll make my determination then on whether or not this was a good move. The dollars cheap, the penalties significant. 14 penalties for 57 yards on Jarvis Brownley last year. He has been called for illegal contact, a 16-yard pass interference, and a 15-yard face mask in 2 games this season. He was in a walking boot on Sunday. 615-737-1045. We've got future opponents for Tennessee football, for SEC football. There is one element of the Vol schedule that I absolutely love that's going to happen every other year. We'll talk about that next.
Around here, everybody knows Genesis Diamonds is the go-to place when it comes to jewelry, especially bridal jewelry. Genesis owns the engagement ring market here, with couples driving for hours to take advantage of the no middleman diamond prices and their exclusive designer ring styles. No other store, online or in person, can give you the selection that Genesis can. No matter what style or look she wants, no matter how big of a diamond she wants, or what shape, or whether it's natural or lab grown, Genesis has it. And at Genesis, there's no pressure, no corporate playbook, no Wall Street sales quota to meet. The trusted experts at Genesis are not paid on commission. They are there to listen, to help, to guide, to help you max out your budget, whether you have $3,000 to spend or $300,000. But don't forget this. In addition to being the leader in engagement rings, Genesis is also where you'll find the finest fashion jewelry from the top designers: earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, necklaces, and colored gemstones. And if you're always wanted a Rolex too, Genesis has a mind-blowing selection of pristine luxury pre-owned Rolex watches for both men and women. Genesis Diamonds, hands down the best, with the transparency you want, the respect you deserve, and the value you want. Learn more at genesisdiamonds.com.
Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone, fueled up by Scooter's Coffee from Williamson to Murray to Cheatham County. Apparently. Goodness.
You got to throw that TH in there. Like
I know it's Cheatham. I'm just the traffic person apparently doesn't. Vols 2026 to 2029 opponents were announced yesterday, Ramon.
Yeah.
There is something about this that I like a lot. Even years are going to be solid schedule years for Tennessee moving forward.
What you mean by solid? Tell me what you mean by solid.
Tennessee in even years will play 5 home games in the SEC versus 4.
Mm-hmm.
And one of their 4 road games is at Vanderbilt, which is a home game. And this is not trolling. This is not, again, I'm not even trying to make you laugh. This is legitimate at this point.
All right, I'll grow up.
In even years, Tennessee will not only have the extra home game because they play at Vandy, those are the years they get Alabama at home. So in 2026, Tennessee will welcome Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, LSU, and Texas to Knoxville. First ever regular season meeting ever between Tennessee and Texas in football. Tennessee will travel to Arkansas, South Carolina, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt in 2026 at SEC play. So every even year, Ramon, you get 6 home games, and one of those home games is Alabama at home. That is a very workable schedule for Tennessee in the SEC next season. It's hard. I mean, LSU and Texas coming to town ain't easy. There is not a single SEC schedule that's going to be easy. We're going to look at Auburn's in a second. It is crazy for 2026, but very workable schedule, very competitive schedule for Tennessee starting next year.
I like the imbalance in it, to be quite honest with you, man. The idea that you also have to host, like you said, A&M, Alabama, and Arkansas in the same year. The back and forth that you had, I felt like it leaned too much into the game planning of the way the teams were set up too. Are you too familiar with people? The way this is just mixed and matched each and every year, I feel like it keeps teams on their toes a little bit about how they want to plan their teams out, how they want to scheme up against teams too, and just you don't get used to the same thing. I like this a whole lot better than I thought I would, man. Now, again, that all goes down to recruiting, NIL, and how you hit the portal on how good your team's going to have to stay also. I'm looking forward to this 2026 trip, though.
Yeah.
Going away to Arkansas and A&M. I hadn't been back to A&M since 2004.
Mm-hmm. When you beat them in the Cotton Bowl.
In the Cotton Bowl.
That's right. So you still have not, I guess, been to College Station.
Yeah, that's right. Have not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2027, Tennessee will host Florida, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Vandy. In 27, Tennessee's away opponents, Bama, Georgia, Kentucky, Missouri, Oklahoma. Much more difficult schedule in 2027 to me.
And you still have the big 3, Florida, Bama, Georgia, in 2027.
In 27, you do. You will not play Florida or Georgia in 26.
The way I see them is the way our schedule always was on the East and Bama.
28 at home, Bama, Arkansas, Kentucky, Carolina, A&M. You go to Auburn, LSU, Texas, and Vandy. Some blue bloods you're traveling to in 2028. And in 29 at home, Georgia, Missouri, Oklahoma, Vandy. You go to Bama, Florida, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. This is the catalyst for an expanded playoff, for a 16-team playoff. And once we get to this point, you're going to be able to lose 3 games and be in the playoff routinely in the SEC. 9 wins will get you in a lot of years.
Yeah.
Heck, 8 wins might get you in. I don't think there's going to be this just arbitrary, hey, you win 10 games, you're in kind of vibe there is right now. And I think that's going to go by the wayside this year anyway. But that is the gist of it. So in addition to those conference opponents, SEC teams are required to schedule at least one high-quality non-conference opponent from the ACC, Big Ten, or Big 12, or Notre Dame each season. That's being framed as some new thing. That's been a rule for a little while. So that will continue to be a rule as well.
Man, I got to give it to Notre Dame, too. I know a lot of people probably don't like that or like the way their season is going if you're a Notre Dame fan. But Notre Dame has really stuck their neck out, I feel like, this year, man, with the idea of them going out of conference and playing a lot of, I guess you would say, competitive teams. The Miami, they lost that one. The A&M game also, they beat Purdue. But them playing SEC teams like Arkansas and playing, I mean, they always play USC, but they really stuck their neck out. They're eating it right now, but they really stuck their neck out this year. And considering they probably thought their team was going to be really good too, Marcus Freeman's running into it a little bit as he goes into Arkansas.
As far in advance as they schedule a lot of those home and homes,
Yeah.
I think it's less about how good they thought they were going to be this year and more so just this is what you do at Notre Dame. But they are playing more SEC teams, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
You're right about that. Vanderbilt next season will play Tennessee in Nashville, Auburn, Mississippi State, Florida, Georgia, and Kentucky on the road. They will host Vanderbilt, Alabama, Arkansas, Ole Miss, in addition to Tennessee. Vanderbilt's annual opponents are Auburn, Mississippi State, and Tennessee. Solid.
Mississippi State? There's history there?
Nope.
Okay.
Of if you're going to give Vandy, Tennessee to have to play every year, then also give them one of the lower level SEC teams in Mississippi State. And I don't mean that as a slight. It's just, it's based off of a 4-year or 5-year, I think even at one point it was viewed as a 10-year average of how good teams have been to balance all of this out in the competitiveness of a good opponent, a middle-of-the-road opponent, and a bad opponent. In 27, Vanderbilt goes to Knoxville, to LSU, to Missouri, to Texas A&M. They would host Auburn, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Texas, and Oklahoma in 27. And then all those that are home and away in 26 are flipped in 28. And the same can be said 27 to 29 as well. A lot of interesting stuff on that schedule release show last night as well. You had Paul Feinbaum like cutting a wrestling promo against the Big Ten. Like, they're watching, and this is putting them on notice. Like, Sankey's talking points made their way to the studio in Charlotte. I respect it. It's what you do, but they trotted out the SEC's official mascot yesterday and Paul Feinbaum to take some shots in the process.
Listen, Paul being compensated properly for that type of promo, man.
Right. He has earned it.
Yeah, buddy.
615-737-1045. What Brian Callahan had to say about giving up play calling duties, what it means for the future of the Tennessee Titans. That's next.
It is 7 o'clock. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans traded cornerback Jarvis Brownley Jr. yesterday and a 2026 seventh-round pick to the New York Jets in exchange for a 2026 sixth-round draft pick. Brownley was a fifth-round draft pick last year in 2024 and became a starter for the Titans. Also, Titans head coach Brian Callahan announced yesterday that he would be giving up his play-calling duties to quarterbacks coach Bo Hardigree. Hardigree has some experience calling plays with the Las Vegas Raiders when he took over when head coach Josh McDaniels was fired back in 2023, and he helped the Raiders finish the season 5-4 in the final 9 games and averaged 22.9 points per game and 308 yards per game in that span. Today, Brian Callahan is scheduled to meet with the media ahead of practice at 12 p.m., and you can hear that right here on 104.5 The Zone. In other NFL news, the New York Giants are making a change at quarterback, benching Russell Wilson in exchange for rookie quarterback Jackson Dart, whom they drafted 25th overall in this year's draft. The Giants are 0-3 to start the season. In college football news, Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer suffered a broken bone in his thumb on his throwing hand against Auburn this past Saturday. Mateer had surgery on it yesterday, and now Mateer is expected to miss about a month. The Tennessee Vols will play Oklahoma Saturday, November 1st. And Oklahoma State, they fired head coach Mike Gundy after 2 decades at the helm in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Gundy is the winningest coach in Oklahoma State football history since becoming head coach back in 2005. The Cowboys are 1-2 to start the season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Ramona Will, hour number 2 on your Wednesday morning, brewed by Scooters Coffee. They're locally owned Scooters Coffee. Go by and see them. Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. We stream the show live for you on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. The F&M Bank chat open for your discussions and analysis. He is Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Justin Hawkins makes the show happen. Coming up in 15 minutes, what to know about the new Titans offensive play caller who used to play football for Tennessee, has called plays in the NFL before, and had quite a lot of success, actually, developing a rookie quarterback at his previous stop as an interim play caller. We'll get full thoughts on that coming up. You will hear from Bo Hardigree as well here in hour 2 of the show. Ramon, we played this to start the show. I wanted to get to it again for those that are just waking up and starting their Wednesday morning. The opening statement yesterday from an impromptu visit from Brian Callahan and the media. This was the head coach of the Tennessee Titans making the announcement that he is no longer the team's offensive play caller.
So I said yesterday, a lot of things under evaluation, and a lot of things that you self-reflect on at the start that we've had so far, and things that we got to get better at. And one of the things that I think is going to help our football team, help me be a better head coach for our team, is I'm going to hand over the play calling to Bo. And part of that process is, and part of the decision making in that process is that, Bo's been had some interim experience calling. He's been on the rookie quarterback before. That part of it will make it a little bit seamless in that regard. The other part of it is that our offensive staff and our game planning process and system is going to remain in place. It's still a collaborative process. We rely on everybody to do their part. Nick is still the offensive coordinator. He'll still maintain his same exact routine and process that he's gone through to help me. And then Bo is going to step in as the play caller on Sunday. It'll allow me to do a little more with our team and with all 3 phases. Pay more time and attention to those things and less in the weeds of getting ready to game plan. And one of the things I told the team and told the players after our game is that, look, everyone owns a mirror, right? We can all look at it. We can all see where we need to be better and what can help us be better. And I think this is one of the best things for us at the moment to help me do a better job as a head coach and be more present and available for the football team and less involved in just the day-to-day minutia of getting ready to call a game. So I think it's going to be positive for us. I think it'll help, and I think at the end of the day too, for our players, it's the same thing. As if there's nothing I love more than offensive game planning and calling plays, and for me to be able to do this for the betterment of our team and to put us in better position, I think we should get the same from everybody that's involved in the process.
That's Tennessee Titans head coach Brian Callahan speaking to the media yesterday. Ramon, you appear to be, at least from what you said in the first hour of the show this morning, on the more optimistic side of this move, more so than most people that I've heard from on this.
Yeah, more than I thought I would be. I essentially thought early on if he gives up the play calling, then that's it for him. That's it. But I didn't have in mind that Bo Hardegree would be the guy. Hearing him give that presser yesterday, his answers as to the why, him being a facilitator, a manager, an actual head coach that's on both sides of the team, the offense and the defense, and also the special teams too, his delegation of power. Like, more than anything, Coach Callahan put a shield in front of himself to help curate what Bo Hardegree can call without being directly involved in it. I think the biggest thing that Coach Callahan has had an issue with is his ability to make quick decisions in situational football moments, or being in a position where he directly has to make the punt call, the play call, or the decision to make a or to punt the ball in those type of situations where I have been. I feel like his plate has been too full. Hearing him give the play calling decisions to Bo, I feel like, having known Bo just a little bit, he's a thinker, he's calm about it, he's a communicator. That's the way I've seen him be. He's super chill in it, and I feel like his head down, knowing what Cam wants and speaking directly to him is good. The other part for me why I turned to 180 is this. We've talked about this time and time again about how, as much as his fan base, I know the fan base ain't the building, dislike, hate, don't want, call Coach Callahan a beta, don't want him as your coach. He's a better manager, I feel like, from the ownership's perspective than a play caller's perspective. That was his first time having that job, that role, in real, actual time. Everybody's got a plan so they get punched in the mouth, and I feel like that's what he's had for himself. Then the last part, to throw the ball back to you, is this. I personally don't think, whether it works or not, you don't want Cam Ward to have a different environment going into year two. It's too much instability. I feel like you ruin. There's so much uncertainty behind if Cam can develop more if you change head coaches. And here's the thing about this too. If you change head coaches, then the entire offense has to go. That means the guy that you're bringing in is going to have to incorporate a new offense, new scheme, new plays, new wording, verbiage, concepts. All of that has to change for Cam. You create more stability as a franchise, whether you like him or not, with Coach Brian Callahan, and it may actually make this team better and him better as a coach being in this role. If you love Cam Ward and the idea that he can be this franchise's guy, you got to love this move too, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, it's essentially going no huddle in the fourth quarter because you're down 3 scores.
Yeah.
That's what Brian Callahan and his staff are doing at this point. They are trying to throw the kitchen sink at this offense and see what sticks and see what works. We'll see. I am very interested to see if the Titans can get a little bit of a new coach bump from not even hiring a new coach that you see so often in the NFL when teams hire interim coaches and there is an immediate influx of energy and of confidence from new ideas and new energy. We're going to see. I mean, we're going to find out Sunday in Houston and over these next 3 games. And then Mike Vrabel's going to come to town on the 3rd Sunday in October. And the Patriots are going to be here, and that's going to be a big test. But Daniel made the point on YouTube that I was just about to make as well here to start hour 2. I'm not saying the Titans are the Eagles, but Nick Sirianni also gave up play calling duties going into last season. That doesn't make Nick Sirianni an idiot. It doesn't make him stupid. It doesn't make him, and some of the other personal attacks I've seen on Brian Callahan, it means that his skill set was best managing the play callers, not being the play caller. Now, Brian Callahan was brought here to be the play caller, and it is an indictment on him and on his ability to do what he was hired to do, the fact that he is giving it up. So this does feel like a last-ditch, all right, let's try this before we totally throw the entire playbook out into the Cumberland and start over. Yeah, this is kind of a last-ditch effort, but it could still work. So we'll see. We are both generally, Ramon, optimistic people just in life and in sports. So I think we're going to come at this maybe from a different perspective just because, maybe it will work. I don't know. But I do think there is an element of Callahan addressing his biggest weakness, which was the shot clock and the play clock to get a decision made. I don't think the issue with Brian Callahan has ever been scheme and guys being open. Other shows, other hosts may disagree with that. That's fine. I know Zach Lyons has talked about it of I don't really whatever. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and there's probably reasons other people feel like the scheme is not working. I don't think the scheme is as big of an issue as the timing and the overall context of when certain plays are called and the overall aggressiveness of the offense.
Yeah.
Moments like Sunday when you have the 2-minute warning, you're in plus territory, and you run it 3 times in a row. If Brian Callahan removes himself from some of the pressure and some of the fear of, what if we get sacked? What if is Bo Hardigree willing to be more of an aggressive play caller because Brian can remove himself from the minutia? All right, what do I need next? What do I need next?
Yeah.
In order to say, all right, let's go for it here. I don't know. We're going to find out. I'm going to give him time, and I'm going to give this new model time to work or not work and see what happens, Ramon. But ultimately, we're going to find out if Brian Callahan is a better head coach CEO than he is head coach in the weeds, in the minutia play caller.
The biggest thing for me in all of this, stability. I said it earlier. I think Coach Callahan still has the locker room. I don't think he's lost it.
I did too.
I also look at ownership and management and think they also like Coach Brian Callahan also. I do think there will probably be other staff changes that come behind this after next year. Cam has professed his love for Coach Brian Callahan too. And maybe Cam Ward is just an awesome salesman. Maybe he says it about everything in his life. Man, this orange is the best orange I've ever had in my life. I love this orange. This is a top 5 orange that I'm eating right now. Maybe that's him. But here's what I do know. It seems to me that he and Coach Brian Callahan have built up that relationship. He likes him. You always listen to your franchise quarterback in these moments right here. And if they believe as a franchise, as ownership, as management, that he can be better as a head coach, this is also his first time doing this. Then what sense does it make to fire him after 2 years and also be paying him, maybe a couple of the GMs, the entire staff, on top of rehiring a new staff to come in for this? I thought yesterday when he made this decision, one, he looked relieved, but secondly, he saved his job. He's got a shield in front of him that says, Bo didn't work. So if y'all like me and how I lead this team and how I've brought this foundation and culture back to ground surface, I got a new GM in Borgonzi, or roster manager in Borgonzi. Chad, you like me. You brought me in here also. Let me continue to build if you believe in me as a head coach. I personally was on board with saying, yes, he's probably done. But watching this move be made, I think the players will like him, and I think ownership can't afford to do it the way they want to right now to completely reset everything.
So there's an idea out there that I thought was really interesting. Easton Freeze of A to Z Sports had a take on this that I want to react to as we learn more about Bo Hardigree, the new play caller. An element of why Brian Callahan gave up play calling that, Ramon, we haven't talked about yet. And we'll dive into that coming up next. When it comes to ensuring clean air in your home, Lee Company delivers. Their award-winning team provides thorough whole home duct cleaning services that eliminate dust, debris, and other allergens from your HVAC system. The result? Improved air quality, enhanced system efficiency, and peace of mind. Even better, Lee Company is offering 10% off a whole home duct cleaning for a limited time. So why wait? Schedule online at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com for their duct cleaning services for the folks who have been in business and trusted in Middle Tennessee for over 80 years. Since 1944, Lee Company has been serving the Tennessee community. They've got 14 community locations in Tennessee, Kentucky, and Alabama, open 24/7 with 1,800 plus employees. You got to get the very best teammates on your team with Lee Company. Call them at 615-567-1000 or head online to leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need.
Synergix and Low T Center are the original MVPs of testosterone replacement therapy. They have been changing the lives of men across the country for over a decade. Since starting, a lot of other players have entered the field, but Synergix and Low T Center are the pros providing you with the most medically driven, results-focused, and winning approach to restoring the quality of patient lives through hormone care. Just talk to some of their patients, and they will tell you that TRT with Synergix and Low T Center has significantly changed their lives. So don't wait, all right? Get into a center, get your test, and you'll be wishing you did it sooner. Here's the thing about it. We always work on the outside, my biceps, how much I can run, my everything else, but we never check out the inside, man, and that's what Low T Center can do for you also. Go in, fellas. Get your labs done, man. You just never know how deficient you are or where you just need a boost in certain areas. I'm here to tell you, it works for you, and there's a lot of other people you'd be surprised that absolutely use it, man. Get that energy back and your lifestyle back. Again, what are you waiting for? Imagine how much better you'll feel when you get back to your original health. So restore your energy like a pro and get on with the rest of your life. You can book your appointment right now at trtmvp.com. Again, that's trtmvp.com. And make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop. Right now at Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases, and here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. Just imagine lower payments, more money in your pocket, and a fresh start with a better mortgage. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. Don't let high rates hold you back. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com right now. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. 615-737-1045 for your reaction into the F&M Bank chat. Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Let's go to the phones, shall we, Ramon?
We need to at this point, man.
Before we get to a very interesting nugget that Easton Freeze dropped about the Brian Callahan play calling decision last night on Twitter, as we call it. Let's go to Hudson in the Borough first up. What's up, Hudson?
Morning, Hudson.
Yeah, I want to talk about this Brownley trade. It's really puzzling me.
Okay.
So, Brownley is a young guy. We know he has potential, at least. They may think less than us. We know he has potential.
Oh.
Hudson must be on 24 right now. Hudson, you keep
Hudson,
breaking
we lost
up.
you. Are you on Bluetooth? Yeah, we lost him.
Come on, Hudson. You've been holding on too, man.
We'll give Hudson a moment.
Yeah.
Hudson, if you're on Bluetooth, switch off.
I use the
Unless
trick.
you're driving.
I hold my phone up towards the roof of my car. You hold it up, you might get a better signal.
We'll
okay?
give him a minute and give him time to get connection again. Let's go to John in Nashville in the meantime. What's up, John?
What's up, John?
What's going on, guys?
Morning.
Hey, my thing is with Coach Callahan. He was at Cincinnati, right? Just doing the play calling, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was not the play caller.
No.
Zach Taylor was the play caller.
Oh, okay. So all he was doing was working with Joe Burrow.
Oh yeah,
What was he
game
doing?
planning. Joe Burrow. I mean, he was doing everything that OC does. He just didn't call the plays on Sundays.
Okay. So they're not giving him another time, a chance to try to get this thing figured out. Like he's trying to do head coaching and play calling. Like you gotta, it's a rookie coach again. There's 2 rookie coaches in a row that we're hiring. Like you got to give these guys more than a season or 2 to get it right. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like if we can't get it right with this coach, we need to hire a veteran coach, somebody that's already coached before. So just give Callahan some chance, man. Give him a couple of games with this new way.
So you agree with time, John? You agree with the time given?
Yeah, I feel like you need a little time, but you still got to get it right. You come in here to be a head coach, you got to produce. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt. Absolutely.
Thank you, John. Appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, I think too, if you are making a coaching change, then yeah, you're probably going to go with someone who's had head coaching experience.
Mm-hmm.
Until that person is Matt Nagy or Mike McCarthy and the fan base riots, but that's the kind of coach you're probably looking at.
Yeah, seriously.
Honestly. But again, we'll cross the bridge if and when we get to it. This is the roll of the dice, Ramon, that I feel like was sparked by someone else in that building. Easton Freeze put this out on Twitter, and he writes, at Easton Freeze, A2ZSports.com, covers Tennessee Titans, does a great job, says 11 hours ago at 8 p.m., if you really think Brian Callahan chose to give up play calling, you should quit thinking that. So Brian Callahan was asked, do you have disappointment in how you've called plays? And the head coach of the Titans had this to say.
Play calling, is that?
Yeah, I have zero disappointment in my play calling. I mean, I don't have any disappointment in that at all. But it's just more just so I can see the rest of it, see the big picture better, and do a better job of it.
Ramon, I think this is a move that we predicted in week 1. We just didn't know what exactly it would be. Remember when we talked about the Elikiah Manor lack of challenge?
Yeah.
And we made the point that there are more adjustments that can be made for a head coach than firing them. Are there different responsibilities that can be given in his headset? Are there changes that can be made during the week? Is there someone new that can be brought in to help the head coach properly do their job? We stopped short of pretty much saying, before you fire Brian Callahan, there are other adjustments you can make if you believe in the person and if you believe in the manager of the locker room, that is Brian Callahan. This is the next card that the Titans had to play. You can make the argument it's one of the last cards they have to play before they make an ultimate change and just get a new head coach in here, Ramon. But this is what we were talking about.
It was.
To be able to say, all right, there are other things you can do more so than just the simple thing to fire the coach. Clearly, someone in the organization, Ramon, feels that this was a step that needed to be taken to try something else and see if it works.
I have a feeling like, seriously, they really like what he can turn into as a head coach. You knew the roster wasn't what you needed it to be. There's a ton. I'm telling you, there's a ton to manage when it comes down to the 53 bodies that you got to manage on the active roster, the play calling, the schematics of it. Again, wasn't it Denard Wilson said it's been pleasant to have Coach Brian Callahan in his defensive meetings? Like that cohesion of knowing what the defense is attempting to do while also understanding what you got to do as a head coach and an offensive play caller yourself. You can delegate as much as you want to, man, but at some point it becomes overwhelming whenever you have losing. You got dysfunction. You got questions about your job. I feel like some of the decision-making that Coach Brian Callahan was making was based upon what he heard in stadiums. And I'm meaning from, like, the fan base. Like, we all become isolated and say, yeah, I don't hear what the fans – lie. You hear what the fans say. Or you at least feel how they feel about you.
You feel the pressure. And at 0-3, Brian Callahan is feeling the pressure.
Think about the decision in Denver. Let's go to that decision. Okay, to throw back up to try to be aggressive because you need to be aggressive. And then think about the decision this past weekend. Are we going to run the ball to try to set up for a field goal? It's because I don't want to make the same mistake I did in week one. To be quite honest with you, you probably should have got more aggressive then. But because you're thinking about winning the football game, the decision to make that, and then you take a false start. I mean, then you have a delay of game. Like, these are all the things that are going through his mind. So make it simple for him. If somebody did go ask him, hey, put it down. Go manage your squad. Again, I reiterate again, I actually think in this situation, and I know we got callers and we got a clip we got to play. I actually think in this situation, you got to give ownership a pat on the back for this one. They didn't overreact again. Instability is why this franchise is where it is right now. And if they could take a back seat and say, no, settle this down and not overreact and fire a guy because we're emotional about wins and losses when you're not in a position to be winning anyway. Vegas got you way under 500. I don't know what they do out
Win
there
total
setting
was
lines.
5.5.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing as far as setting lines, but Vegas don't miss. I laughed at the fact that 5.5 games winning? You weren't set up to win big anyhow. Why go ahead and make a change now when you got this many moving parts regardless? So if you fire another coach and Borgonzi and Chad got to figure out what to do with their head coach on the next search?
Let's go back to Hudson in the borough who's reconnected with us. You got us now, Hudson?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
Loud and clear.
All right, I want to talk about this Brownley trade. I cannot understand this to any degree. He's a young guy who has potential. At least we think he has more than maybe they do. But you trade him for literally the bare minimum you could get in a trade to get anything, a 6th and a 7th round swap. That is nothing, practically. And then you see Michael Pittman's words last week about the Titans not being bouncy. You know who wasn't warming up last week? Our only guy who's ever hyped ready to play Brownlee. This team was already slow and pathetic, and now they're even more slow and pathetic with no hype going into each game.
Thank you, Hudson. Appreciate the call. It's a hard trade to wrap your head around. It is. The value is less than what you would have liked. I think the timing of it is strange because you could have made this move during training camp or in the offseason and had a little bit more time to go get a replacement or have more stability. But again, the way I'll explain it, first and foremost, I'm reserving judgment until we learn more about if there is an off-the-field issue, Ramon, that was the spark to this based on what Jim Wyatt said yesterday on 3HL. And B, he wasn't drafted by your GM.
He was not.
And the type of Titan that they want is changing. Doesn't make it feel any better. You lost a young starter that's controllable that you feel like showed you some good things, but that's the reality of instability and changes you make when you consistently change the type of player that you are looking for under different leadership. Mike Borgonzi has I think, earned the benefit of the doubt with the early returns on his draft class to be given the benefit of the doubt to say, all right, let's see what you got.
Mm-hmm.
This looks weird on the surface. It looks surprising on the surface, but we'll reserve judgment for a couple weeks and see if they've got a plan to make this work. I think Jalen Armour Davis, Ramon, too, had played well enough for them to earn minutes that Brownlee was going to take from him.
Yep.
I think they like him enough to say, let's go ahead and give him some more opportunities.
I agree with that too, and I feel like they like the prospect that he can potentially turn into as the hottest guy on the waiver wire.
Played
correct?
19 snaps against the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay, so real quick about the Jarvis Brownley situation too. He's a starter here. If he goes to the Jets, is he a starter there?
No.
Outside corner?
He is a backup outside corner.
You got Sauce Gardner,
from Rich Samiti yesterday,
and Brandon Stevens, who just signed a 3-year, $36 million deal at outside corner.
He's not been good so far this year.
Has not. But there, as far as being a run stopper, Jarvis Brownlee is going to play a role. Like he's
a role player.
Your nickel dime. You know what I'm saying? Your guy that can come in and deliver a punch to the defense. Here, you needed him as a starting corner. And the way they feel right now, Jalen Armour Davis is the guy that they feel like can handle that, especially if you can't get a rush. So you mean to tell me in the Denver game, and I know he cleaned it up in week 2, but in the Denver game, if the defense was able to create all kind of chaos for Bo Nix, but Jarvis is getting DPIs, that's
3 penalties in week 1 for Jarvis Brownlee.
It's detrimental to the team. On top of that, I mean, I love the fact that guys are hotheads. You need them dudes on your teams too. You absolutely need hotheads on your team.
Right.
But this team is too fragile as far as wins and losses to consider that an asset. That's a liability on game day.
I think it also raises the value of Roger McCreary, who you need to keep around now.
Most definitely. He got to be smiling.
Otherwise, you're replacing all of your corners next offseason. That's not realistic to do in one offseason. Getting back to the Brian Callahan play calling discussion, Brian Callahan was asked, does this feel like a self-demotion? And answered with this.
Yeah, again, it's a pretty easy thing to do when it comes to trying to help the football team win and do the best thing for, what the job is. I got hired to be the head coach, and part of that process was being involved on offense, but my job is to be the head coach of the football team. And I think that this allows me to do that job a little bit better, pay more attention to some things that might require my attention and be more present. So all those things are normal. I think it's all part of where we're at. We're 0-3, and so we're trying to get better. And I think that's my same message to the players as it is here right there at this podium.
So, Ramon, he made the point that play calling sometimes gets overblown on who the voice is in the headset. It's like different guys have different responsibilities, talking about how Randy Jordan is scheming up the screen game and how base plays are Nick Holtz and red zone and situational is Mike McCoy and Bo Hardigree, and then he's overseeing all of this. From your perspective, Ramon, playing for a head coach in Mike Tomlin for 11 seasons who did not call plays, who was a CEO, is that fair to say that the voice calling plays is overblown? Like, how much of a role will Brian Callahan still have to play? And is that true that different guys have different responsibilities, and ultimately who the play caller is gets made into more of a deal by us than it should be?
It does. I'll put it this way. Having played for a coach that wasn't a play caller, he did do this and still does. He hold meetings on Wednesdays or Tuesdays before everybody even gets into the building for guys that want to come to his side film office. And in that film, and I say this, I'll speak about this because they've talked about this, but at probably about 5, 6 in the morning, those dudes are in the office watching tape with Coach Tomlin, going over the breakdowns, what he expects, because in his mind, he knows the defenses and he's trying to show them the, go ahead.
You go ahead and finish up. I'm just saying, like, I was going to add once you were done, is that normal to have so many different coaches working on different parts of the offense?
Absolutely, it's normal.
Yeah, we got 2 comments at once say, that's too many cooks in the kitchen. That's too many people. That is a normal procedure.
That's normal procedure.
To have different position coaches who work on different concepts within the offense.
No, absolutely. Like
that's the way this works.
The tight ends, running backs, and the offensive line will meet together to go over the run game. We didn't even speak about the passing game. Okay, and then the defensive line coaches and linebackers would meet to speak about what they were going to do against the run offense.
That's how you divide it all up.
You divide and bring it in as a staff.
Yeah.
But as a head coach, having the ability to sit back, learn the entire offense. As far as Coach Tomlin goes, he's breaking down the tape and film as if he is the DC. So when you get in those modes as a head coach, hey, you got a separate set of eyes that can delegate and potentially help out Coach Denard Wilson. Coach, I've seen this because my offensive expertise has allowed me to say, expect this. Or you know what? In this situation, you should call this. The head coach will still have a say-so as he's able to talk to the OC and the DC over the big mic to say, hey, you should probably think about this play while allowing your coaches to advance and call what they want to over the course of the game. They are suggestion guys. They are supposed to be the experts and the managers of what you want in those situations. third and manageable, or, hey, if it's 3rd and 12, get it, and we're going to punt. It's an easier decision for Coach Brian Callahan in those moments, I feel like.
So Bo Hardegree has done this before, was the Raiders quarterbacks coach in 2022, and was promoted to interim offensive coordinator for 9 games in 2023. In that time, rookie quarterback Aiden O'Connell, who was drafted in the 4th round out of Purdue, started all 9 of those games, and they went 5-4, Ramon. 1,905 passing yards during that stretch. That was second among all rookie quarterbacks under Bo Hardegree's play calling, as did his 11 touchdown passes. Aiden O'Connell had the 3rd best passer rating among all qualifying rookies at 83.9. So from games 1 through 8 to then 9 through 17, Ramon, they averaged 40 more total yards per game, 39 more rushing yards per game under Bo Hardegree than under Josh McDaniels in that 2023 season. They went up 5% on 3rd down. They went up 10% in the red zone. Under Josh McDaniels, the 2023 Las Vegas Raiders scored 15.8 points per game. Under Bo Hardegree as the play caller, 22.9. They also allowed 0.8 less sacks per game. So pretty much a sack less per game when Bo Hardegree was calling plays versus Josh McDaniels. I know it's easy to look at this and say, well, boy, Nick Holtz has got to be feeling bad. Nick Holtz has got to be. I think this is more about Bo Hardegree having done this before in a pinch than it is an indictment on what Nick Holtz does or who he is. The Titans right now are all about mitigating risk and raising the floor. So right now, Brian Callahan is trying to do the thing that is going to save his job and going to keep him around. And giving play calling duties in the middle of the season to somebody who has also never called plays is not the risk that you are willing to take.
You couldn't.
The 2 options you had for this were Bo Hardegree or Mike McCoy. You chose Bo Hardegree. Here we go.
I mean, he's locked up with Cam on the sideline. He talks to Cam. He coaches Cam every single play. The line of communication may be a little bit different.
Jack on YouTube says, what are the numbers if you remove the 63-point explosion against L.A.? Well, that's not fair, though.
You can't take that away.
No.
You can't take away Derrick Henry's 99-yard run.
If you have a semester class and I say, oh, you got 100 on this exam, but look, what happens if I take away the 100 on that exam? Well, you still studied and got 100 on an exam. Yeah. You get credit for that. You get credit for being part of a 63-point explosion.
You want to move the goalposts. You can't. You're not allowed that.
No, in this league, if you scored 63 points, you get credit for scoring 63 points.
You know how hard that is?
Yeah. We can be negative about things that are worth being negative about without making up new things to be negative about just because we want to be negative.
I love how you did all those negatives.
Yeah, well. That's positive. 615-737-1045. Open for your reactions. Sam will lead us off. Loaded phone lines on the Callahan play calling decision. We'll give you the chance to react coming up next. Moving and relocating in Middle Tennessee can be a challenge. Look, I love to go around the neighborhood and go for a walk around the house, take a look at all the houses, all of the different places that are trying to be sold. And I'm here to tell you guys, just because this is a hot city people want to move to, some of those for sale signs have been collecting dust for quite some time. Bernie Gallerani is the realtor that you need. He's the only realtor that I've ever personally endorsed because he's the only realtor with the 30-day guarantee. Bernie, he guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less, or he'll buy it. No risk to you. Bernie will let you out of the contract at any time. He is the real estate agent who has the 30-day guarantee to sell your home. If not, he will buy it from you. He's so confident in his ability to help you, he's giving out his personal cell phone number, 615-428-2644. That's 615-428-2644. Or you can head online to Google Bernie Gallerani Real Estate, or go online to the website, BernieGallerani.com. Bernie, with the 30-day guarantee, if you're thinking about selling your home, trust my good friend Bernie Gallerani. Call him at 615-428-2644. Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. We go to the phones. 615-737-1045. Sam is up first. What's up, Sam?
Hey, y'all. Hope y'all doing well.
Thank you.
I'll try to be quick. Just wanted to quickly touch on like a couple of things. I played baseball at Auburn back in the day. I graduated in 2016. But shout out Butch Thompson. Shout out Bruce Pearl, who just retired. And then kind of bringing it back to football here, using like the biggest changes that we've had in the turnaround, using like Dan Campbell. You don't find Butch Thompson, Bruce Pearl, Dan Campbell like all the time. But the one thing I think to bring up, you could look at their records too if we want to see how they've changed from year 1 to year 2, year 3, 4 on. But do we feel like Callahan really is the culture guy? Because I know my senior year was the year that Butch Thompson came in, and I kid you not, from Sonny Galloway the year before to getting Butch Thompson in, completely different mentality. But it wasn't like, hey, I'm just a quarterback guy. It's we're going to create a culture in the space. We're going to do this. And it seems like that's also what Dan Campbell did when he moved in at the Lions, regardless of the 0-10 starts, 3 wins at the end of that first year. Then they go 9-8. Then they go beyond. But just do we feel like this really is the culture that is going to turn the players around, regardless of taking away the play calling and things like that? I think that's more or less what I feel like we should be looking at, not just judging the wins and losses, but we see the players getting that change that we want to see in them.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate the call. It's a good question.
That's been I think the biggest thing that saved him. You can't say that he hasn't. Like, we listen to people that have power and from the front office. Like Burke has said those things. Chad has stamped him when it comes down to that conversation.
They like the way Brian Callahan works during the week. Now, can they get better work on Sundays?
Right.
And this is kind of to me, feels like the last roll of the dice to see.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way I see him winning them over.
Yeah.
Is they see the finished product, not where he is right now.
I do think he has established a culture of veterans who care and young guys who are, Tyler Lockett said, Tyler Lockett talked about how guys were just not complaining about running in training camp.
Yeah.
Now, has that translated to wins and losses? Nope, not yet. How much time does he get to see if that translates to wins and losses? I don't know. Ramon, how do you measure culture as someone who's been in a good culture in an organization that is known for having a championship culture in Pittsburgh for 11 years?
A player-led, assertive, confident culture. No matter what happens and what moves, you keep everything the main thing, and the main thing is football. And I feel like that's the one thing that he's trying to have happen here. Losing don't help keep it intact. Losing does not help keep it intact. But you know more than anything, if it does get bad, it'll help reset itself at some point.
How much does the head coach really have to do with that, though, then if it's player-led?
It's just the messaging. It's the players that have to deliver that.
Yeah.
It's the players. You empower the players inside of the locker room to handle that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Let's go next to Roy in Franklin. What's up, Roy?
What's up, guys? The Brownley thing kind of confuses me. You're 0-3. They talk to us about developing young players. Obviously, Brownley has some talent. Now, granted, he's not Roger McCreary out there, but he's part of your rotation. I just think it was a little too quick, the 3 games of the season, and then you just get a 6-rounder. You're kind of telling me that, hey, we're trying to grab picks for next year already. I'm not sure who they're going to go after for a 6th-round pick. None of us are thinking about that. But obviously something was going to happen, and I think more things will happen. You got some players that are going to be coming off IR. Tajay Spears, I'm not sure where he is with his injury right now, but he'll be coming up off the IR. So somebody's going to get bumped down. It just kind of confuses me why you're 0-3 and you're going ahead and get rid of a young talent that you could still develop and build. And it just makes 0 sense right now. But granted, I still think there's going to be some more moves coming up. I just don't know. Tighten up, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you for the call, Roy. Appreciate it. On the Brownlee thing, there's got to be something that is keeping him from being developed. That's what I kept going back to yesterday, trying to wrap my head around it. Because I'm with Roy. It doesn't, on the surface, make much sense to say you're a draft and develop organization and then get rid of a guy you just drafted and haven't really yet fully developed. So is there an off-field obstacle that cannot be overcome to develop that player. There's got to be. I mean, that's where I keep going back to. I'm interested to hear what Brian Callahan says about it. It doesn't mean that it's automatically, I'm not going to carry water for it if it's just because Brian said it. But I mean, I am curious to learn more because what Jim Wyatt said on 3HL yesterday, maybe we can get that, Justin, here in a minute. And I know it was tweeted out yesterday. I can send you the link about what Jim Wyatt said about trading Jarvis Brownley. I think there's more to it than what meets the eye. There has to be.
There has to be.
To do a pick swap for a starting quarter.
You never know what goes on inside those locker rooms. You just don't. Antonio Brown getting traded from Pittsburgh is probably the biggest shock I ever seen in my life. Did not have that on my bingo card. Now, look what happened after that. I know he got a ring with Tampa, but, like, look at everything that happened from that. Like, you end up getting other guys that are replaceable because of it.
Yeah, it's one of those issues that's hard to really wrap your head around and speak with 100% certainty on because we're not in the locker room when the doors are closed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't know what some of these guys are like in the locker room or what they're like in the training room or off field. I know he was in a boot on Sunday, Brownlee. I think if he's not in a boot, as a member of the New York Jets this weekend, very quickly, you might have your answer. I don't know. I don't know. Avery's dad is in Franklin. Hello, Avery's dad.
What's up, Mom? What's up, Will?
Morning.
You know, Coach Mack always said in the league, you got to be two things, and that's you got to be good and you got to be lucky. And unfortunately, this Titans team has been neither. The best ability is availability. And when you got an offensive line that has the issues that you currently have, and even on the defensive line with Sweat and Snead coming back, you're trying to make pizza and you got ham hocks in the refrigerator, Mom. So it is what they is. And Blaine called it best. You know, when you got a first-year coach coming in who's never called plays, that's a bad recipe. And we've seen under the pressure what he does when he's calling plays. It hadn't looked the best. You know, there have been little breadcrumbs of how he does under the pressure. And unfortunately, he hadn't rose to the occasion. So, you know, hey, we'll see where it goes from here, man. That's all I got.
Appreciate it.
Avery's dad.
Thank you, Avery's dad. Shout out Avery.
Shout out to Avery.
They are. No, I mean, it's a good point. Like, we talked about it all offseason. This team had a pathway to being competitive this year, but it was a narrow path that included injury luck, that included some balls bouncing your way, winning one-score games. It just hasn't happened.
Other part is if you let go of Callahan, it's still going to be his playbook this year. Bo Hardiger is operating out of Callahan's playbook.
And Brian said that yesterday. He said, like, we're still calling the same plays.
Yeah. It's just the flow of the game is different.
One thing, though, that did stick out to me yesterday, Bo already sounds like a head coach when he speaks.
He's a football coach.
Even more so than Brian. Like, Brian, I think, is abnormal. I don't mean this in a bad way.
Right.
It's good for us because Brian will give you a lot of the answers to the test. And Brian is very insightful and will give you long. Bo Hardiger was asked, like, what's your, and we'll play it and coming up. But when we play it for you, he sounds like a head coach. He was asked, what's your strategy? He goes, protect the ball and score points. Next question. That was it. Like, oh, yeah. Maybe he is cut out for this.
You see what, like, I don't know.
I'm not, obviously, winning a press conference does not ever mean that you are or aren't a good football coach. I'm being sarcastic, but I just thought it was funny. I'm trying to lighten the mood a little bit. Things are bleak right now, guys.
But I'm with you. I've said this. I felt like Callahan gave too much.
Yeah, you have said that.
He's giving y'all way, and y'all get him to react in those media scrums, and I'm just like, stop. They don't need all that.
Well, yeah, we do.
No, you don't. Coach Tomlin says nothing. Vrabel says nothing.
Right, well.
Like, you don't need all that, Callie. You ain't got to prove to them that you're the head coach of this team.
So coming up, if Jarvis Brownlee is out, which he is this a fire sale that just started, or is this a one-off change of one guy that didn't fit? We'll dive into that coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster here for my friends. I do mean my friends at Jewel Roofing and Exteriors, man. Robbie, shout out to him, man. He hit me up this past weekend. He was at the Titans game, just like you guys were, man. For Mike Keefe's Hall of Fame induction, man, Ring of Fame induction, man. But I'm here to tell you this, man. They are trusted, family-owned Middle Tennessee company that has been serving from Clarksville to Murfreesboro for over 25 years, man. They stand out by building relationships and earning trust through referrals, never through high-pressure tactics, door knocking, or storm chasing. Y'all know when there's a storm in this area, you always have those signs in your neighborhood. You need a new roof. Call us. No. Jewel Roofing and Exteriors, they don't do those types of things, man. They want to make sure when they come to your house, they're going to be honest with you and you be honest with them. If they have to get up on your roof, guess what? They're going to be very transparent about what's going on. If you need it fixed, they will fix it for you. If you don't, guess what? You'll have to call them back at a later date anyway, man. If you're concerned about being tricked or being hoodwinked when it comes down to how you pay for your roof, Jewel Roofing won't do that to you. They are very honest and upfront, man. So for a roofer that you can trust, call them at 615-868-9999 or visit the website at jewelroofing.com. That's Jewel Roofing with 2 L's.com.
It is 8:02. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans yesterday traded cornerback Jarvis Brownley Jr. and a 2026 seventh-round draft pick to the New York Jets in exchange for a 2026 sixth-round draft pick. Brownley was a fifth-round pick back in 2024 last year and became a starter for the Titans. Also, Titans head coach Brian Callahan announced yesterday that he would be giving up his play calling duties to quarterbacks coach Bo Hardegree.
I have zero disappointment in my play calling. But it's just more just so I can see the rest of it, see the big picture better, and do a better job of it.
Bo Hardegree has some experience calling plays with the Las Vegas Raiders when he took over when Josh McDaniel was fired as the head coach back in 2023, and he helped the Raiders finish the season 5-4 in the final 9 games of the season. He averaged 22.9 points per game and 308 yards per game in that span while being the play caller. Callahan is scheduled to meet with the media ahead of practice today at 12 p.m., and you can hear that right here on 104.5 The Zone. Another NFL news, the New York Giants are making a change at quarterback, benching Russell Wilson in favor of rookie Jackson Dart, whom they drafted 25th overall in this year's draft out of Ole Miss. The Giants have started the season 0-3. Yesterday, the Tennessee Vols SEC schedule was announced for 2026 through the 2029 season. Next season, in 2026, the Vols will host Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, LSU, and Texas in Knoxville at Neyland Stadium, and they'll travel to Arkansas, South Carolina, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, hour 3, Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. He is the 11-year NFL vet and Vol Network analyst, Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins makes the show happen. I'm Will Bowling at the controls. In 15 minutes, Bill Connolly of ESPN previews a massive college football weekend with us, the kind of weekend that makes you make sure you've got the portable charger in your back pocket if you're at a pumpkin patch or a fall wedding.
We're already doing pumpkin patches?
Why not?
All right, then.
This is America, isn't it?
By the way, the amount of losing that went on this past weekend that we had to discuss on Monday, all right, y'all made me miss the announcement that it's officially fall, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, September 22nd was officially fall. Y'all need to get excited about that. If you ain't got nothing else to be excited about, we can start lightly pulling out the light sweaters is all I'm saying.
Cool.
Pumpkin drinks are allowed now.
Yes.
But no, pumpkin drinks
Just now.
allowed since the second they dropped at Scooters Coffee.
Just little news for
I'm
the people.
I'm telling our friend Scooters that you are not allowing people to have pumpkin coffee.
I had one last week at Two Rivers
Good.
Store. So
Fantastic.
That is a demerit.
Pumpkin caramelicious coffee, terrific at Scooters. So Jarvis Brownley got traded. Started in 14 of 17 games as a rookie, had 75 tackles, 7 TFLs, 9 passes defended, and 1 interception. A starting corner last year out of need without L'Jarius Sneed. I'm a poet, and I didn't know it. Jalen Armour-Davis was claimed off waivers. He will get more playing time. Darrell Baker is initially listed as now the starting corner opposite Sneed on the Titans' official-unofficial depth chart. Jarvis Brownley had 3 penalties in week 1 against Denver. He was flagged 14 times for a total of 57 yards last season. This year had an illegal contact, 16-yard pass interference, and a 15-yard face mask in 2 games this season. Ramon, is this a one-off lack of culture fit move, or is this a sign of a fire sale that is beginning on the Tennessee Titans roster?
Hey, it's a little bit of both. I wouldn't be shocked, depending upon how you want this season to go. I don't want to play conspiracy theorists or nothing like that, but there's an idea that the best way to get better through this team and the cheapest best way is to get assets. That asset comes as far as being a top 10, top 5 pick in the NFL draft, where you can trade back, where you don't have to worry about the franchise quarterback anymore. You don't have that need like some franchises will moving forward. Pittsburgh will have that need at some point. Who's to say they won't try to trade up in a position to do that, right? I'm just naming one team. At this point, most definitely Cleveland will need that to be the case for themselves, right? So I say If you're going to do it, you got to find out what's going to work for you, your core guys. And that is your core franchise guys is what I'm saying. And that is trying to get those dudes that you don't want in, out. I firmly believe, like I said, I think in my personal opinion, this is me, I think more credit should be given to the front office. I feel like this fan base is absolutely booed on Sunday and give them a little bit of pat on the back or smack in the head, whichever one you want to do, as far as taking the slow road in this procedure with Coach Callahan. The players, again, the move to put Tavondre on injured reserve, I thought was somewhat telling. Just a little bit, and the way I looked at it, it's like, wow, he's going to IR? Now, I know they say he re-injured his ankle, but you also had an inactive Jarvis Brownley in a walking boot that still got traded away. I think there's a longer road for a guy like Tavondre Sweat to be in the good graces of this team with the amount of time that he's missed in his sophomore year that I think most people will realize. You're going to go after, I think, more of a fit for what Borgonzi wants. Look at the way Borgonzi has been around to watch what Kansas City has turned into. Long, lean, big athletes on both sides of the ball.
I think all that's fair. I think the issue with it is what you got in return. Giving up Brownlee and a 7th for a 6th. I think you could have gotten a straight up 6th. I was surprised when I saw the return and how little value they got for Jarvis Brownlee.
So you're telling me they paid somebody to take him away?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't gain any additional draft capital. They moved up from the 2026 7th round to the 2026 6th round.
My question is, why are they paying for a second-year guy to go away? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have that answer.
Right. So Jim Wyatt at TennesseeTitans.com was on 3HL yesterday, and I thought had a very interesting answer about the Jarvis Brownlee trade. Here it is.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I love Brownlee myself.
Yeah, me too.
They don't want me to disparage him on the way out the door, and I don't think I can fully tell why that happened. All I can do is just say, I think he's a feisty, good young player. Love the way he plays. Obviously, he had some penalty issues, and maybe there was some stuff that happened, or maybe there were some things that made the current regime a little bit more unsure about him than the guy who drafted him. But I wish him well. Great young player, tough kid, and we'll see what Brian Callahan says about that tomorrow. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to say anything bad about Brownlee.
That's fair from Jim Wyatt. That's a lot of what we've said this morning as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to put any words in Jim's mouth because, again, he is not disparaging Jarvis on the way out personally. But all of this only makes sense if there is a part of the story we don't know, Ramon, about the way Jarvis Brownlee has interacted with his teammates and been on the practice field behind the scenes and information that we're not privy to. Because on the surface, the value does not match up with who the player is, even if you did feel like the player had some deficiencies that were going to keep him from being a really good player in this league.
No doubt about it. And I think Jarvis was probably liked by his teammates in the locker room. I can't see him being a problem, to your point, like at least on the surface level, but problematic on game day, most definitely. Like, we received a text from a friend. It's like, you got to remember, this man wanted to go toe-to-toe in Tampa with the fans.
He tried to fight fans in Tampa during practice.
Some love that stuff, though.
I don't love the move. I am confused by it, but as I've said earlier this morning, I will reserve total judgment until we learn more because it feels like there's got to be more than meets the eye on this. Mm-hmm. So we'll wait and see. Let's go to Mo in Nashville, who's up next. What's up, Mo?
What's up, Mo?
Yeah, you can call me crazy, but I get that they are switching to play callers, but I feel like we're putting too much emphasis on the actual play caller. Like, the play caller does not have any effect on if Calvin Ridley is going to catch the ball. He doesn't, and Ramon knows this, he doesn't have any effect on if the O-lineman is going to block the rusher. So I feel like we're putting too much emphasis on the actual play caller and not on the actual players. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Thank you, Bo. What do you think?
I can agree with that. Those dudes got to own up to it, too, and do their part. But the actual flow of the plays that are being called also may actually have something to do with how successful they are, too. Everybody, I feel like, is questioned. Mo, respectfully, I don't want to move the goalposts. Everybody's respectfully has challenged Coach Callahan to have a better game plan, to finish out games, to be able to know when to go for it. Don't just throw the screens and set your rookies up for failure. Cam's ability to roll in and out of the pocket, how you want that to go to, that has been questioned. Now, again, if it's a personnel decision or personnel issue of players not catching the football and not being able to block guys, you're going to have to wait to address that anyway. But if you can set Cam up for success or know when to run or situationally not throwing the football 3 times back up at your own 7, that is a play calling decision right there.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, there is no one fix. You're right.
Yeah.
This roster needs to be built back up. They need to get healthy on the right side of the offensive line. They need Cam Ward to grow in real time. They need Calvin Ridley to catch the football. But they also need a better feel for the game from when to take chances and when not to take chances. And in 2 different games now, Brian Callahan has made questionable decisions on a lack or an abundance of aggressiveness. Mm-hmm. In Denver, it was 3 throws backed up on his own 5 at the end of the first half that resulted in a touchdown for the Broncos because they had time to go down and score. Against Indy, it was the opposite extreme. It was 3 runs after the 2-minute warning, taking a delay of game because he can't decide whether or not he wants to kick or go at the end of the first half, results in a delay of game, Joey Slime miss, and 3 points for Indy. Like, yes, those things are what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. It's that element of, does Brian Callahan have a better feel for the game in asking what he wants situationally from Bo Hardigree if he's not thinking, all right, here's what I want to do and here's how I want to do it. Right. The what and the how are being separated amongst 2 different people now. Mm-hmm. What Brian Callahan wants to do is now different from Bo, who'll say, all right, you want to take a shot here? All right, here's the play I have drawn up for it. Instead of Brian thinking, do I want to take a shot or do I not? And then also, what play do I want? Once I decide, do I want to take a shot or do I not? So you are divvying up those responsibilities. And within that, Ramon, here's the element I think that I do like. And we'll get to Bill Connolly of ESPN in just a minute. There's more time for Cam Ward to make adjustments. Mm-hmm. Because I think Cam is making good reads pre-snap, and you see him checking into things that are working. If Cam Ward gets the show in more quickly, Cam Ward has more time to pre-snap, make adjustments, and diagnose, and then make changes. So time and 5 extra seconds on the play clock could matter for Cam Ward. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not guaranteeing any of this is going to work, but that is why they are doing it. They deserve a chance to prove that it does or doesn't work. We're going to find out Sunday when they take on the Houston Texans.
One of the best play callers I've ever been around in my life, Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians came to us one day. It was on primetime football and said, hey, he walked in our old offensive line room. Hey, big boys, I don't want to hear it today. I know y'all want to run football, but we're going to throw it. And we were mad, upset. And you know what we did? I think we ended up setting a record against Indy that night, too, for passing yards or something for the franchise. Ben threw for like 500 yards. He came in the room and basically said, y'all shut up and block, and we're going to let Ben throw this ball around. And we absolutely did.
Coming up, ESPN's Bill Connolly talks college football after this.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls. That is the website, medicalhousecalls.com. They're available to you 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. through 8 p.m. There's some same-day appointments available for you or next day guaranteed. And here's the simple part about it. You can go to the website at medicalhousecalls.com, or you can simply call or text this number, 615-838-2375. And the thing about Medical House Calls is you can get at-home urgent care for yourself. Everything from sicknesses, infection, injuries, in-home labs, testing, and more. For a flat fee, you'll get an evaluation, full exam, and treatment plan, and prescriptions if needed. I know a lot of people don't like going to the ER, to the doctor at all, or simply just don't have the time for it. Well, this is where Medical House Call steps in and come to you. Again, schedules are crazy, and just sometimes you cannot get off work. They also have things available for you like mobile IV therapy, where if you have a persistent illness or difficulty focusing, they have IV therapy for you. Or to be quite honest with you, if you just need to bounce back from a crazy weekend, they can come in and hydrate you and get you the vitamins and that you need inside of you. Primary care is also available through medical house calls. Again, it's unlimited house calls, 24/7 telehealth, priority IV treatment, and you can get your annual physicals also. So medicalhousecalls.com is the website, and make sure you tell them Ramon sent you.
Visit a locally owned location near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet with Vol Network analyst and 11-year NFL vet Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. Pleased to be joined this morning talking college football by Bill Connolly of ESPN, previewing a weekend where you need to tell your friends who invited you to a wedding that I'm busy. What's up, Bill? How are you?
Yeah, we've been waiting for this one for a while. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
Absolutely. Good to see you on Zoom as well, 104.5 The Zone TV, where people can watch on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Bill, I want to start locally with Tennessee and maybe not the marquee matchup of the weekend against Mississippi State, but just curious on your expectations for Tennessee preseason, the S&P Plus, the numbers perspective you use, and kind of where they are now. I know they lose to Georgia, but has your expectation on Tennessee changed at all since the season started?
I don't know. I mean, I think the definition of this year's Tennessee team is a little different than I expected. Offense is a little better. Defense is a little worse. So that's kind of scrambled things a little bit. But, I mean, they're right where they've been for the last couple of years in terms of SP Plus rankings. And they're looking at a situation now where, they're a projected underdog at Bama, but that's it. I mean, obviously a number of weird tests in the SEC, especially this week against Mississippi State, who has overachieved against projections every single week, and we don't quite know. They might actually be pretty good too. But if you handle those tests, and Tennessee's done a really good job of that in recent years, then I mean, you're looking at the same kind of finish that they had last year, albeit with a different kind of team.
So is that kind of the expectation then? Like 10 wins, playoff team, the way this offense is playing, like we kind of went into the season saying, hey, 8-9 wins, you feel pretty good the way all the Nico stuff happened. Is this team capable, Bill, to you of being, albeit with a different formula, the same kind of team it was last year?
I think so. I mean, obviously, when you have a lot of, I said, projected underdog on only one more game, lots of narrow favorite, coming up. The OU game should be close. Mississippi State, Arkansas, et cetera. Like I would say 9-3 is probably the most likely record, which maybe gets you just slightly left out. But this is still the expectation. I do think is in that kind of 9-10 win range, which I mean, based on recruiting rankings, based on recent history, based on a lot of things, that's pretty much what Tennessee is, and that's not the worst place in the world to be.
ESPN's Bill Connolly, our guest. So, Bill, when you look at Mississippi State and what makes them so hard to project, the injury last year with Blake Shapen, there's no way of knowing how good they could have been last year. A lot of one-score losses, a lot of close losses with Michael Van Buren, who's now at LSU. But what makes this team so difficult to project at this point, and what impresses you most about what Jeff Lebby's done there in year two?
Well, I mean, the defense has really, really come through this year. That's been the biggest change. I mean, obviously the offense is a little better, but the defense was, I had them 98th in defensive SP Plus last year. They're up to 34th. In terms of just raw points per drive, they're 16th. Now, I mean, they played one good offense, Arizona State's, but still, like, this is still way better than last year, even against common opponents. So I do think you're looking at a situation where, I mean, they have a ton of good offenses on the schedule coming up, so we'll find out exactly how good that defense is, but they're preventing big plays really well. They're making red zone stops. They're just doing everything pretty well so far. No obvious weaknesses. And again, like, the schedule gets harder. We'll find out weaknesses soon enough, but they've passed their tests wonderfully so far this year.
We're joined by ESPN's Bill Connolly this morning talking college football. Bill, a 6:30 game here. Georgia versus Alabama. What is Georgia coming off this bye week? Gunnar Stockton, I think, showed more in the Vols game. But Alabama, supposed to be that type of team, and they're ranked 17th right now. How do you see this matchup this upcoming weekend in Athens?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge one for Alabama. They were, I had them second in SP Plus, which made me a little uncomfortable heading into this year. But, they come out and they lay this enormous egg to start the season on the road against Florida State. And then they're basically perfect against Louisiana, Monroe, and Wisconsin, who neither of them are very good. But still, like, the upside is the upside. And if they show it, then every goal that Alabama typically has is still on the table, but they have already lost a game. They have a huge run of tough games coming up, and to start that out before you even get to Vandy, before you go to Missouri, any of these kind of surprisingly difficult games, you could say they gotta go to Georgia. They could be 2-2 when they face the rest of this tough stretch, and that's that's an existential crisis waiting to happen if they lose this game. So really high pressure situation for them. Georgia, I mean, it's funny. This team doesn't seem to have the upside that the title teams from a few years ago had. But the one thing we know about them is if you don't put them away, as Texas learned last year, as Tennessee learned a couple weeks ago, like they're always that the floor is the highest in college football. They're always going to bring a certain level of effort, and if you give them an opportunity, they're gonna win. And they're kind of that safe bird in hand kind of team, and they could drop a game like this one and still be okay. So much more pressure on the road team, and that makes it a particularly interesting situation. And we'll see. I don't really have. I guess I just trust Georgia to pull this one out, but this one is really, really interesting.
Something that's been very interesting also has been Texas and Arch and Manny. Shocked, right on par with what you thought, with what Arch's play has been as they go into this bye week. Also, how do you explain what Texas is so far? Who's yet to get into the middle of their scheduling also, or the challenging part?
Yeah, I mean, Arch Manning looks like a first-time starter. He's had a couple of decent games. Obviously he wasn't ready for Ohio State in the opener. That made perfect sense, really. But then, he had a setback against UTEP as well. He's just been kind of up and down like a first-time starter often is. The defense is great. I have no concerns about the defense. It's been about as good as expected, and that's going to keep them in a lot of games this year. But yeah, I mean, what I said in the preseason about Arch and Texas was, the only way you could say they're the preseason number one is if you assume Arch is the best player in the country, because otherwise, the fact that they had a brand new offensive line, an unproven receiving core, even an unproven defensive line, that if Arch wasn't amazing, all that other stuff was going to matter. It mattered against Ohio State. It'll probably matter against Georgia and other teams on the schedule. Obviously, they got a break with John Mateer's injury with the Oklahoma game coming up. But no, I mean, they just seem like, they're a team that it doesn't matter what they look like right now. They're going to win most of their games based on defense and talent, and it just matters where Arch is in mid-December. I'm not convinced he's going to be amazing in mid-December either, but it's a work in progress.
Bill Connolly of ESPN, our guest, his numbers perspective on things. Excellent work at ESPN.com. One of our favorites, talking college football. Get his work there. ESPN_Bill C on Twitter. Bill, when you look at Arkansas, Notre Dame, I was looking at your projections of the S&P Plus and the projected score. It's got Arkansas by 2. What goes into that for you and for Sam Pittman and a guy that's really good at last stand games, and when you feel like you've got him pegged down on the hot seat, he'll go win a game like this. What do you think goes into that number for you?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing is that Arkansas, they're 2-2, but they're 22nd in SP Plus. They're top 10 offense. They basically, if they could just not fumble on the game-winning drive, they'd be undefeated right now. It really has just been. I mean, this is Arkansas for the last couple of years. Huge, big plays, lots of explosiveness, and lots of self-destructiveness as well. But that means they're both dangerous to themselves and their opponents. And Notre Dame, with their defense struggling, with their defense giving up a lot of big plays, this is kind of the perfect opponent to really, really test them right now. Notre Dame obviously desperately needs this game. They don't have a lot of quality win opportunities. Maybe USC. They're already looking at being at kind of the bottom of the 10-2 pile when in the playoff rankings. If they went out, they're not getting in at 9-3. So this is kind of a make or break situation for them. Arkansas, I mean, I guess it's make or break for Sam Pittman at some point, but they're used to these games all of a sudden, and they should be able to turn this one into a track meet too.
Bill, I feel like Penn State is in the same boat now as what Clemson was coming into the season, right? A lot of returning production, a lot of experience there, veteran quarterback with NFL-level potential, and a coach that's been there but not at the top level, at least in the last 5 years since Clemson last won a national title. How do you see Penn State, a team largely unproven, considering their opponents they played this year, matching up with an Oregon team that it kind of is in the same boat quietly. Like we keep moving all these teams around the top 10. And there's Oregon, there's Penn State. What intrigues you most about that matchup this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, Oregon's, I guess, played a tougher schedule than Penn State, but it really just kind of a less ridiculously easy schedule, right. If we're being technical. Like, yeah, none of these teams have faced a real challenge so far. Obviously, Oregon's at least had to go on the road. That weird game at Northwestern, and they mostly handled it fine. Northwestern wasn't ever going to score on them, so it was only sort of a game. But yeah, I mean, when we looked at the schedules in the preseason, this was the start of the season for both teams, and especially with Penn State. James Franklin is exactly the kind of coach who would try to leave as much as possible off of film in the first 3 games, knowing that he wouldn't have to be very creative or experimental on the offensive side. The defense has only given up touchdowns in the last 25 seconds of blowouts. Like it's been every bit as good as expected, but we don't know about the Penn State offense, and Oregon's defense is good. It's definitely good against the pass. I don't know about the run. We're going to find out because Penn State's going to certainly try to move the ball on the ground as much as possible, but they've just been kind of keeping everything under wraps. And you'd like to think that even with a super vanilla attack, Drew Aller would have completed more than 65% of his passes, mostly short passes, or Nick Singleton would have broken off a long run here and there. But yeah, we don't know anything enough about Penn State, and we'll absolutely know enough by Saturday night.
Well, Bill, if that's the case, I need you to break down to me what's Dabo Swinney and Clemson then, okay? Because usually when somebody goes to a press conference and say, y'all are spoiled, okay, I'm the best you ever had, okay, you'll never be anything better than me, Bill, they usually don't get beat at home by a Syracuse, man. What's going to happen there the way you see this situation?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I was very, very skeptical. I was the resident Clemson skeptic, I've been saying in the preseason, just in terms of I never saw this as a top 5 team. Like they've been basically a top 15 or 20 team for 4 years. They returned a ton of production, but to me that was only making them like a top 10 team. So I've gotten a lot of credit for being skeptical of Clemson, except I still would have thought that Clemson would be 3-1 right now, not 1-3. It's kind of closest to the pin. I'm getting credit for being the closest to predicting them, but I was nowhere close here. We were all extremely wrong on Clemson, and it's hard to figure out why. I mean, obviously the offensive line's banged up. Run game hasn't given them as much as maybe they expected. So more's been put on Cade Klubnik. Antonio Williams has been hurt. All that kind of makes sense. But they are 98th in points per drive right now. Like that isn't going to make sense. And for whatever the cause, it's just been odd. They just feel like a very stagnant team, and all these other teams went out and got a ton of talent in the portal. Maybe I think I was my friend Bud Elliott kind of theorizing that maybe that meant a certain level of competition that Clemson doesn't have because everybody knew they had their starting spots or something. I don't have a better explanation, but this has just been a shockingly stagnant start here, and they're not. There are plenty of other losable games on the schedule if they don't get their act together.
And there's a team that could go in the opposite direction. That's Oklahoma. Brent Venables has lost his quarterback for minimum 3 weeks. Do they survive? I hate to say, does he survive? Because, they got an offense together, but these are things you have to think about if they don't have a quarterback in place that can do what John Mateer's done.
Yeah, and I mean, the good news for Oklahoma is this has been a defense-driven team. As much hype as Mateer has gotten, they're 67th in points per drive. They've dominated defensively. That's been the key to, they had topped, they scored 24 points against Michigan and Auburn, and it was enough in both games. But the defense has been great. Defense can continue to be great. Obviously, they have a bye week to get Kent State. That one won't be a problem. Texas is obviously not amazing offensively. South Carolina is not amazing offensively. So really, if this had to happen, this is probably the perfect time for it to happen. Not that they're going to beat Texas, but they might not have beaten Texas anyway. So they can probably survive this next stretch, maybe go in 2-1 if they can get Mateer back by the Ole Miss game at the end of the month. But it sounds like it's pushing it. They could still be in decent shape here. But yeah, I mean, that's the best spin I can give is the offense wasn't great already. So, they're winning with defense, so just keep winning with defense.
Yeah.
Bill, this time next week, we're going to be talking about a 5-0 Vanderbilt team going to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama, and they're going to beat Utah State Saturday, obviously. It does feel like Vanderbilt has more of a team around Diego Pavia than just Diego carrying them to the amount of wins they got last year. How high is Vanderbilt's ceiling to you? Like, if the ball bounces their way and things go their way, how good can this Vanderbilt team end up by the end of the year?
Yeah, their defense has really chipped in a lot more this year. That's been, I think, the biggest difference. It improved last year. It's improved a lot more this year. I mean, the offense is doing great, obviously, but this is a more well-rounded team this time around. So, I mean, we'll see. Like, Pavia is still a guy who takes a lot of hits, and he wore down last season. He was not the same in mid-November as he was in late September, and we'll see if they can, avoid that because they'll be 5-0, but then it's at Alabama, LSU, Missouri, at Texas, and Auburn. And, from that point forward, that's rough. All of those games are winnable if they play like they have been because they really have just been a super high upside team. But yeah, we'll see. There's still a wear and tear aspect here that's going to be hard to manage. I mean, either way, like I think their most likely record is still in kind of the 8-4, 9-3 department, and that's wild considering what the expectations were about like 13 months ago. So just a really nice step forward. I'm not going to predict SEC title contention here, but they're going to be in every game they play if Pavia keeps doing what he's doing and the defense keeps stepping up.
He is Bill Connolly of ESPN talking football with us, previewing a massive college football weekend at ESPN_Bill C, where you follow him. Always great to catch up with you, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. Bill Connolly with us here this morning talking college football, and he's right. Even the games Vanderbilt's not favored in, they're in the mix.
You better not sleepwalk. Absolutely not.
No, nobody is sleepwalking through Vandy Week.
No, absolutely not, man. Good on them. Again, I'll reiterate. This is what happens when you let a coach set his culture. I know college is different, NIL and stuff like that, but he felt like he had the right quarterback. He felt like his projection of what he wanted his team, culture, toughness, defense to be like. He also made a change himself, calling defensive play calls, right? Like sometimes you just got to give it time to breathe a little bit more. I'm correlating this to the Titans situation. I know it's not a one-to-one comparison because it's college versus NFL. Sometimes patience is what's going to get you over the hump.
Coming up, your phone calls. We'll get to Brad and Tony on the Titans, 615-737-1045. Open for just a couple more minutes this morning. If you want to weigh in on Brian Callahan giving up play calling duties, if you want to weigh in on Jarvis Brownley being traded, you can do that right here with us. Coming up next.
So let's talk about your hair real quick, all right? If you're losing it and desire to have it back, then Advanced Hair Restoration has the easiest guaranteed solution. They're simple. One-day treatment offers life-changing results, and I've seen it with my own eyes. Guys, it's not magic, but it's close to it. They put hair where you need it the most, and bam, it grows. It's actually science. Advanced Hair has it all. Top-rated doctors, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins regrowing the very next day. Advanced Hair even guarantees it grows for life. So schedule your free consultation now. It's 629-348-HAIR is the number. If you qualify, you get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and they are the team I personally recommend. So don't wait. Check out the befores and afters online if you don't believe me. Again, the number is 629-348-HAIR, or visit the website at advancedhair.com.
Ramona Will at 104.5 The Zone, fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Rhett Bryan going to stop by in 15 minutes. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, 615-737-1045. Let's catch up on a couple of your phone calls as we wrap up hour number 3. Brad is in Nashville. Up next. Hey, Brad.
How are we doing, guys?
Good. Good morning.
So everybody's talking about firing Callahan. There's another part to that is who are you going to replace him with? Odds are the GM wants to put their stamp on every aspect of the team. Now, Berganzi was hired mid-January, which means he didn't like the options he had available probably and is already planning on having to do this at the end of this year anyway because he didn't want to have to do it twice. So, honestly, it's probably just a long, drawn-out process unless something drastically changes. So I'll listen to y'all's comments off air. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Appreciate the call. Appreciate you holding. Sorry it took us so long to get to you. What do you think about that, Ramon?
A long, drawn-out process. What you're looking at for me is stability, Brad, to your point. Like, if it goes right, you're good. Coaches have saved their jobs before in these type of moments. Like, what has to happen now is Coach Callahan's management of Bo, of Denard, of Coach Fossil, and just the operation of the game to making the right decisions. I think that's been his most flagrant issue that he's had is his lack of decision-making in moments, specifically play calling, but also situationally too. Like, he's had those type of situations. So I feel like they have a good relationship. I can't see Berganzi coming in and wanting to fire Callahan himself. Berganzi's job is to get Callahan the players this team needs and how he wants to build a foundation of players for the future. I don't personally think anymore, this is my personal opinion, trust me, ain't nobody in the building talking to me about what they're going to do with a head coach. I personally think he saved his job by relinquishing the play calling duties and showing that he can be a better manager than he was a play caller. I view it as if this franchise has had too much of a rocky ride. This is like whitewater rafting on a 5 level. I think that's what Bert said is the hardest one. You've been thrown side.
That's 5 rapids.
It's 5. You've been thrown side to side so much and back and forth, falling out of the boat. That look, I know some people are like, yeah, we're willing to fall out the boat again. Not this time. Not with Cam. Not with Cam is where I'm at with it.
We're gonna see. I mean, I think this is the last move, and I think the point you're making is a valid one. That when a head coach has a shield and a play caller, that if the offense doesn't work, all right, well, you get rid of the play caller. Then you keep the coach, right? Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
If you like the culture.
I don't think this is that.
You don't.
I think Brian Callahan has been self-demoted from play caller and doesn't get the luxury of, if it doesn't work the rest of the year, I'm just going to blame it on the play caller. No, the play caller had to take over mid-season because it didn't work under your leadership. This feels like a last-ditch effort kind of move to establish continuity and keep things rolling in a more efficient direction.
I agree with that. We also spoke like the ability to keep yourself hired is the operation to be smoother too. Remember last year? It was just
for
like,
sure.
well,
And maybe it will be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How, so real quick before you go for, like, when Chad and when Chad Brinker and Mike Berganzi were asked, do you have a Super Bowl roster? We thought like, it was a silly question. But here's the thing. They laughed at it. Remember, like, there was a chuckle. They looked at each other like, are you serious?
Chad kind of chuckled. Mike didn't. But yeah.
But like Chad chuckled like, you serious? Like, no, we don't have a Super Bowl roster right now. If that's the case and you like the coach and the coach does get a better operation as a manager of this entire team, why not keep the coach? And also the way Cam has proclaimed his love for him.
Because the coach has to show key growth in managing the game. There have to be ways independent of the roster that the coach can show progress. And so far, Ramon, unfortunately, we haven't seen that progress. We haven't seen progress in managing the game and having play calls that make sense in the moment of the flow of the game. You know, not being backed up and throwing it 3 times in Denver. Not, the rules stuff that happened with Elikai and Manner's elbow being in or out. Like, to me, this move is made to help Brian Callahan manage those situational aspects of his job that he has struggled in this season. So that's where, independent of the roster and the talent he's been given, there are still things that are controllable that this staff has not controlled well enough, which is why we are here. So we'll see. It may work out. Brian Callahan may be the type of coach that, again, we made the comparison in the first hour. If you missed it, like Tom Brady is a really good broadcaster when he is given 5 minutes to explain something. When he's given 20 to 30 seconds, I do think, by the way, Tom Brady's getting a lot better at broadcasting from what I've heard this year.
He's a pro.
I think people were way too quick to dunk on him, but either way, that's neither here nor there. Either way, Tom Brady's been better on longer form interviews than when you've got to give 20 seconds and you've got to give analysis and get out of the way. I think the same can be said for Brian. I think Brian is a smart coach who understands game planning, understands scheme, understands the plan, who has shown a weakness when he's got to make a quick decision. When you take that quick decision away and give it to Bo, and you let him be the big picture guy, maybe this works.
You can guide him.
I'm not guaranteeing you that it is. I'm not trying to be overly positive about it and say, like, this is the fix to fix. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying that I think that's the thought process, and we're going to find out whether or not it works enough for everyone to keep their job.
Being real, that was his role at the other places he's been at.
That was what he did in
Cincinnati.
Yeah. Tony is in Greenville next. What's up, Tony?
What's up, Tony?
Yeah, hey, thanks for taking my call. So on this mysterious Brownley trade, I have a speculation on what it could be. I remember an interview, and I believe it was after the second game, where a reporter asked Jarvis, so I'm paraphrasing, something like lines of, what do you've had a lot of key penalties, and what are you going to do about it? And I was expecting an answer like, I'm going to be working on manipulating my hands so that I don't, do the things that cause a penalty, and I'm going to practice, during the week, and I'm going to make it better. But he didn't say that. It was more along the lines of, I'm doing the same thing that other corners are doing, and the refs are getting at me, and he was basically just blaming the refs for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that maybe he's having that same kind of conversation with the coaching staff during the week, and they're just figuring that he's not going to straighten out these penalties. And, what they're doing as far as trying to cut back on the penalties with these practices where they're, doing push-ups and all that. And I think maybe they just decided, we're going to set an example. If this guy's not going to improve on the penalties, we're going to move him out. And my speculation is that that's the reason for this trade.
I can see that being part of it for sure. I do think, and we've
Thank you, Tony.
alluded to the fact, I do think there's other stuff that we don't know.
From what we know on the record, yes, that appears to be the best example of why he got traded. For sure.
Yeah, it's sticky. But again, until he sit down and say what it is, or I doubt we ever get an answer from the front office because they just don't give answers on this type of stuff.
It's not their job to.
No, it's not.
The criticism of that, though, is that all those things can be true, and you still probably should have gotten more for him than just the 6th and 7th pick swap. Titans Radio's executive producer, Rhett Bryan, joins us talking Titans and Texans.
Two Rivers Ford is asking for your help collecting non-perishable food items to benefit Second Harvest Food Bank and the Mount Juliet Help Center as they help to feed those who need it the most in our community. Here's how easy it is. Next time you're at the grocery store, pick up a couple extra cans of food, things like canned tuna, chicken, or salmon, protein bars, low-sodium soups or chili, dried beans or rice, boxes of cereal, stuff like that. Anything that can be stored and served over the next few months. And then drop it by the dealership. And the F-150 display right up front, I promise you, you cannot miss it. And you have until the end of this month also. So anytime between now and September 30th. It's all part of Ford Motor Company's Global Caring Month and the world's largest dealership food drive. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
9:02, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Some Titans news yesterday, in case you missed it. The Tennessee Titans traded cornerback Jarvis Brownley Jr. and a 2026 7th-round draft pick to the New York Jets in exchange for a 2026 6th-round draft pick. Brownley was a 5th-round pick back in 24 last year and became a starter for the Titans. Also, Titans head coach Brian Callahan announced yesterday that he would be giving up his play-calling duty to quarterbacks coach Bo Hardigree. And he talked about why, despite being okay with his play calls.
I have zero disappointment in my play calling. But it's just more just so I can see the rest of it, see the big picture better, and do a better job of it.
Bo Hardigree has some experience calling plays with the Las Vegas Raiders when he took over back when Josh McDaniels was fired as the head coach back in 2023, and he helped the Raiders finish the season 5-4 in the final 9 games. He averaged 22.9 points per game and 308 yards per game in that span as the play caller. Today, Callahan is scheduled to meet with the media ahead of practice at 12 p.m., and then you can, of course, hear that right here on 104.5 The Zone. Yesterday, the Tennessee Vols SEC schedule was announced for the 2026 through the 2029 seasons. Next season in 2026, the Vols will host Alabama, Auburn, Kentucky, LSU, and Texas in Knoxville at Neyland Stadium, and they'll travel to Arkansas, South Carolina, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you've got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into hour number 4 on your Wednesday morning. Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooter's Coffee. With Justin Hawkins at the controls, a frustrated Ramon Foster trying to get into his email. The fourth quarter of the show begins with the executive producer of Titans Radio, Rhett Bryan, joining me, Will Boulding. We are brewed up by Scooter's Coffee, as always, as Scooter's Coffee can be found at Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. And Justin says now you're allowed to get pumpkin drinks. So go by and get their pumpkin caramel coffees. What's up, Rhett? Good morning.
Fall is...
Oh.
Uh-oh.
We're missing Rhett.
Hey.
There
fall is in full swing now. I just wish the weather would agree and say it's fall.
It's trying.
It's trying. Temps are going to dip a little bit towards the end of the week, but I'm ready for a fall game now. Of course, we don't have to worry about that for 3 weeks. We're indoors.
I was just about to say,
3 weeks.
I've seen the forecast for the next 3 weeks of Titans games. 68 and cloudy.
I am glad, Ramon Foster, that I am not changing my password right now.
I see the smirk on my face right now.
Yeah, I've gotten very, very lucky in getting into that and finding a password that works and getting out. I changed mine. It asked me to change mine like right before the season started. I was like, okay, let's bloop, and knowing that it's going to have to change again.
Hey,
it's not great.
How's Bragging Camp?
You know what? I stayed all week.
Staying overnight.
I did also say that I got very lucky because I've had my moments with that. But what we're hearing. Exactly. What we're changing.
Because I'm over here like I finally submitted to like Apple's suggestion of creating a password, which is one of the most cryptic things that you can do as far as passwords. I did it. Okay,
it's like capital X 7 R T
30 letters
17
2 numbers
dash
symbols. I did it. And
it's like the VIN number on your car with upper and lowercase and some symbols and whatever.
It's probably as hard.
You know what I hate though?
What?
When you say we all have too many subscription services or whatever.
Over it.
And you get to one and it's like, oh, we don't allow at symbols. Or I'm like, oh, thanks. Yeah, what do you want me to use? Hieroglyphics? Like what? I'm sorry, I don't have that option.
Hieroglyphics.
That's what I felt like with the word
what do you want me to put in some rune signs?
That is true because there are some that make you simplify it because they won't let you use certain symbols. I'm like, I'm making it more complicated. Let me use those symbols.
Let me talk to an old warlock and get some rune symbol stones.
You must solve my riddles 3 if emails you want to read.
I'll tell you what you can do with your riddles 3, and we can't say it on the radio.
Listen, I got close before I just submitted to Apple creating the password for me, which I have no idea what it is right now. And I'm hoping to translate over from my phone to my computer to everything else at this point. I'm lost. I'm going to have to do this again, is what I'm telling y'all.
That's all right.
I saved it, though.
At least you got back in your Twitter.
Oh, I did get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We waded through the dark ages of you having to create a new Twitter account that you no longer have to use.
Yeah,
That's absolutely right.
You know, the first few lines of Teddy Swim's Lose Control is kind of what Titans fans are feeling right now. Something's got a hold me lately. No, I don't know myself anymore. I feel like the walls are all closing in and the devil's knocking at my door.
Week 4.
Whew. Lots going on.
I'm going to stop hitting the table now. Okay, I'm
Bo
done.
Hardegree is the new offensive play caller for the Tennessee Titans, Rhett. What was your reaction to that news yesterday and hearing Brian Callahan's explanation for making that change?
So I thought it was the next logical step in where everything is going. I didn't really think about it as the timeline or whatever because, listen, I'm up to my neck in it, just getting through stuff, to get us to game day and all the shoulder programs we do.
Guy.
I'm not a short guy, so they'll tell you. Yeah,
that's a lot. It's me trying to relieve my stress right now.
Yeah, you are.
Yes. All right, I'm back.
I did think it was interesting. Now, as far as Bo Hardegree goes, I did understand him going that direction instead of Nick Holt, because like he said, everybody's got things as a part of the plan. But you think about a couple of years ago when the Raiders let go of Josh McDaniels, he was the interim OC for the last 9 games of the year. Yeah. And you can look at what their record and what their numbers look like before and what it was after with Aiden O'Connell, a rookie quarterback from Notre Dame at that time. And there was marked improvement in all of those earmarked places that and the win column was one of them. But so he has experience with this. And he has not only that, he has 9 games, so he has, half of a season of this, and with a rookie quarterback, which he's already been immersed with for the last 3-4 months in Cam Ward. So I can understand why with that. And then as Brian Callahan was explaining the framework of everything, I immediately in my head went back to January the 6th, which was his wrap-up press conference at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, and someone asked him about would he ever think about relinquishing his play calling duties, and he said, listen, I'm always open to ideas. I'm very confident in what I do right now, so I don't think needs to be addressed right now. But if it were to become a thing where we needed to pivot, we can do that, and so here we are. It's happened.
We do have that audio, by the way, we can listen to. Justin found this from January when Brian Callahan was asked after last season and after his first season as a head coach if he would consider giving up play calling.
I think I'm humble enough and open enough that if that's a change that needed to be made, I would make it. Right now, though, I do feel good about that process. I love calling plays on game day. It's part of where I find a lot of joy in the football process, but I'm never going to close the door on something if it makes us better. But as of right now, no, I continue to anticipate to see myself calling plays and doing that part of the operation because it is the part that I enjoy quite a bit. And I love game days calling plays. So, but again, if it makes us a better football team and I need to devote my resources elsewhere, I'm always open to those thought processes. So, but right now, no, I don't anticipate that changing.
That was Brian Callahan, January 6th, after the season ended last year. Obviously, he did give up play calling duties yesterday.
Yeah. And first of all, it just tells you in a performance-based business how things can change very quickly sometimes. And, but, the fact that you have that archive there, because actually Joseph Bonanno had it in his file, because we were talking about it yesterday. I said, hey, don't forget, I said, he mentioned this. Someone asked him about this at the season wrap-up press conference. I said, if you probably have a cut already, and that was where we found it. He goes, yes. He goes, I'm glad you remembered that.
Wow. Nice.
But, it's Titans fans have so much PTSD. And listen, is involved in it with trying to bring everyone a radio product about the team. I understand your plight. I get it. And then Jarvis Brownley's trade yesterday, like all these things are happening. This team is an evolving thing. Lots of things are in flux. And when things aren't going well, that kind of amps things up a little bit more. And, it's easy for me to say this, but I mean, this is a business. This is what this is. It just happens to be about sports, and it happens to be the most popular sport in North America. Mm-hmm. And, but it's interesting. It is without a doubt interesting. I'm more focused on getting ready for the game on Sunday, and you talk about interesting. Mm-hmm. 2 0-3 teams. Somebody's going to leave that thing 0-4, and somebody's going to notch their first win. And Houston, I mean, it's clear what the issue there is. Right. And it's not the defense at all.
And they've made that change already.
Now, here's the thing that I find interesting, and I tried to bring this across the airwaves last night on Mac Talk with Coach Mac. This is not just a thing with the Titans. Business operations happen in the other 31 places. And the reason I say this, General Manager Nick Caserio of the Houston Texans, he made 2 different trades. One for C.J. Gardner-Johnson, one for Kenyon Green, the guard. Both of those guys aren't on the roster as of right now. And the C.J. Gardner-Johnson one is a little more wild because we're 3 games in. He had agreed to a salary reduction to veteran minimum, and they converted the rest of that base salary to a bonus, which is going to cost them about $5.5 million in a cap hit just 3 weeks ago. And he's not there. Now, I think there's more to that. You see some things reported and whispers of, he's been on 4 teams in, 5 years, whatever
4
it
minutes.
is. Yeah. But the Kenyon Green, you can go, well, wait a minute, what in the world? And the offensive line is the crux of the matter there because they've got 4 new starters that are all lined up to the left of the one guy that has stayed at right tackle and is the mainstay there in Titus Howard. And the thing is, they're not even set with that. They were rotating left guard last week between Lake and Tomlinson and Juice Scruggs. So you can see, I know we're going to get into the numbers, but it is wild. If you think the Titans' offensive line has issues because of, injuries right now or that things, take a look. Mm-hmm. I know it doesn't, it's like, but we only care about the Titans. That's true. But I'm just saying you need perspective because there is other things in other teams, and it just happens to be the one you're playing this week in your own division that you can look to and go, that's why they're 0-3. There's plenty, and there's different reasons for both teams in this. But that is, division games are always something anyway.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm.
But wow. This is, I didn't see Houston being 0-3.
Right.
I didn't know what they'd be, but I didn't think they'd be 0-3.
Rhett Bryan in studio with us as we talk Titans and Texans. More with him after this. Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee. Rhett Bryan in studio previewing Titans and Texans. Sunday on Titans Radio from H-Town, a city that has no claim to Oiler Blue. Rhett, as we look at this matchup, and
I sure wish they did.
That's absolutely right. Maybe I'll bring an Oilers hat or something to wear around Saturday as I watch the Vols.
Hey, just don't do it on the sideline.
No, I won't do it on the sideline.
I don't want people throwing things at you.
Just Saturday. Titan Blue on Sunday.
I'm glad we're not in Cleveland and that's a thing, because people would be throwing things at you.
Hey,
that's fair.
I've been on the field for that.
Yeah,
it's
having
not
things
great,
thrown
Bob.
at you.
Not great, Bob.
The one place, quick aside on that, I have, as a fan, had things thrown at me at an SEC road venue.
Get out.
Kentucky. Ooh. I was, I think, 10 years old. I think it was
okay.
No,
throwing
literally.
stuff at the young guy.
And it was from like the upper deck. Like it wasn't just at me. Like it was thrown into the UT section. It was after Montario Hardesty, shout out, Centennial High School offensive coordinator. Montario Hardesty's game-winning touchdown run in 09 in overtime to beat Kentucky. And somebody threw beer at me. And my dad jokingly goes, "You're going to smell like beer when we get home. Don't tell your mother we've been out drinking." Obviously joking because a Kentucky fan threw beer at me.
The reason I say that tongue-in-cheek and jokingly, so Cody Allison, our first sideline reporter for Titans Radio back in the day, and you met him over the weekend.
Absolutely.
He and I are going to do a podcast, and we'll drop some episodes very soon. We're going to work in the laboratory on that at the end of this week, called Sideline Stories. And we're going to get to some episodes where he's had some wacky stuff happen. And in Cleveland, they were throwing batteries. I mean, he's like C and D cell batteries whizzing by his ear. I'm serious.
Yeah,
I am
crazy.
serious. So I look forward to getting those things out there, because he's got some fantastic stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the time that I think it was Baltimore. Security tried to throw him out and Yancey Thigpen out off the sidelines.
Wow.
Yeah,
Now, Yancey had been hurt and was on crutches in sweats. But it's like, he has a microphone with a mic flag that says Titans. Like, who would go to such an extravagance to try to put on a ruse, acting like what in the world?
Right.
Oh, anyway, sorry, I bird
No, that'll be
tracked
awesome.
there for a
Looking forward to listening to that. Good stuff. Rhett, when we look at the Houston Texans on offense, it is a problem for C.J. Stroud, for new offensive coordinator Nick Caley in his first season, replacing the fired Bobby Slowick. So the Houston Texans are 32nd in scoring offense.
Yep.
They have the least amount of first downs in the league.
Correct.
They are 29th in total offense. 30th in the NFL with only 2 passing touchdowns. They have run it 65 times, which is 29th in the league, because they are not consistent in being able to run the ball with Joe Mixon on injured reserve. It's almost like, Rhett, the inverse of the Titans' offensive line issues that have been on the tackles, where the center guard triangle has been good. The Texans have the opposite issue. The middle 3 have struggled. Titus Howard at right tackle's actually been somewhat decent when they've not moved him around from right guard to right tackle.
When he's seen his shuffling, you're right.
Ariante Ursary is looking like a rookie day 2 pick at left tackle.
Yeah, he's got, I think,
swimming.
3 penalties against, and he's had some protection issues. It's what you would expect in a guy that has not done that at that level.
What stands out to you about the Houston Texans offense?
So, 172 yards per game passing, rushing, 29th in rushing attempts, 23rd in yardage. And then I just look at the pieces and parts on that O-line. And like I said in the previous segment, 4 of those guys to the left of Titus Howard, the right tackle, are new to this. So Ariante Ursary, 2nd-round pick, Minnesota. And then they rotated left guard, trying to figure out what's what, I guess. Laken Tomlinson had 43% of the snaps. Juice Scruggs, 57% of the snaps. And then Jake Andrews, Sunday will be his 5th career start. He only had 1 career start prior to this season.
He's been the best 1 out of the 5 so far this year, too.
So, and it shows with C.J. Stroud in all of this. 599 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a 76.9 passer rating, 64 completion percentage, 64%. And but where it really tells is in the receiving numbers, because it's Dalton Schultz and Nico Collins. But I mean, they can't generate points. They can't generate sustainable things because this offensive line, again, continues to. They've had issues for 2 or 3 years, and they traded away Laramie Tunsil to the Washington Commanders, and that's the crux of this when you're looking at everything, because the other parts of it aren't too bad. The rushing game, I think, the run game is something that I think Texans fans are trying to, because there's no Joe Mixon. He's hurt right now. Mm-hmm. And, Woody Marks is a guy that I think may get some more involvement in that run game and as a rook there. Yeah, it's easy to see that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. The defense, that's the other story. Mm-hmm. And it's the good story. The bad story for the Titans.
Oh, right.
They are the quarterback pressure kings. They do it. And it's, Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter. They have 39 total pressures as a team. The bulk of them, Anderson, 17 pressures, 3 quarterback sacks. Danielle Hunter, 11 pressures, 2 quarterback sacks through 3 games. Quarterback pressure rate, 32.5%. Even Sheldon Rankin's in the middle, 5 quarterback pressures himself. Yep. But when you got 2 dudes on the end that are eating, and they've got depth. That's the other part of this. Because you look at the depth chart, Derek Barnett is behind Will Anderson.
Nashville zone.
Darrell Taylor, another VFL, is behind Danielle Hunter.
Tennessee zone.
Mario Edwards Jr., we know him. Florenzo Fatakasi is there doing nice work. And then you look at their linebacking core. Henry Toho, he was not a VFL, but he was a Vol. He went the other way. But anyway.
He's a Vol for a little
Aziz
bit.
Al-Shire that we know. Christian Harris is one of those backup guys from Bama. And their secondary, they've moved pieces and parts around there. Jimmy Ward comes off the commissioner's list on the same day that they cut C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But Jalen Petrie, their nickel,
is excellent.
Really, really, really good. Derek Stingley Jr., one of the better corners in this league. So, you just look at what they have on defense and you can see, okay, well, but if we're looking for a place that could be advantageous for the Titans, if you could get the run game going, they're allowing about 40.5% on third down.
Mm-hmm.
That's 18th in the league right now.
Yeah.
Sacks per pass attempt, 8.41%, just outside the top 10. But and Tony Pollard, he's the quiet champion in all of this. Like, he had 16 carries for 45 yards in that score Sunday. He's earned every doggone yard he can muster through 3 games. Because, they're crashing in on him. And the other part, too, when they went down on that scoring drive, he had a hell of a blitz pickup.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did.
And that was the one that they ended up not calling a touchdown because I think it was a penalty or whatever, but he rocked a guy to keep Cam's pocket clean long enough to try to do something.
And he had 24 carries for 119 and a score in Houston in the upset win last year.
That's right. That was the Titans' last win, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So it can be done.
Back to the scene of the crime.
They hung 32 points that day.
Believe you're right.
So it can be done. I would just like a chance to see Arden Key and Draymond Jones and these guys with the offensive line issues that they've had, see if they can get home. And Jeff to crash the gates and get home, because they're getting there. They're just not. They haven't been able to finish the deal.
And no quarterback likes to get hit. If he's having protection issues, I don't see C.J. Stroud being more of a Patrick Mahomes type where his creativity expands outside of the pocket. I feel like his is more frantic, right, with the way we've kind of seen him be just on a chase outside the pocket. That's where they got to go eat. That's where, to your point, if Jeff can abuse that left guard situation this upcoming week, that's the deficiency that they have. Guys on the outside edge got to close that out for him. They have to at this point, man.
Yeah.
Because Jeffrey Simmons' win rush rate is high. It's very high. Mm-hmm. All the things you wanted him to do, getting upfield, creating chaos, flushing out the quarterback has been there. Their ability to stay disciplined down the field and the box in the quarterback the same way, to be honest with you, the Colts did last week against the Titans on the right side. That's the game plan. I would feel like that's going to lead to success.
You know, the interesting thing, too, about there was a really interesting piece, and I failed to remember who the author was, but it was on The Athletic yesterday about C.J. Stroud. And this guy's been doing a city-by-city, team-by-team quarterback look. And he was bringing up the questions about, for them, does their woes right now, and obviously things can change with 14 games left, but do their woes right now mess up potential contract extension talks for C.J. Stroud, who's in year 3 on a rookie deal?
Jeff Howe wrote that story.
Yes, and it's really, I would suggest y'all take a look at it because he had some interesting points of view there. And it's true because this is the window where you start, because he was Offensive Rookie of the Year, had a little less in year 2. Now here we are, they're 0-3 in year 3.
Yeah.
And it ain't all his fault, though. We know that.
Agreed.
He's running for his life in a couple of spots there. But just looking at the bigger picture, because you're talking about quarterback takes up 35% of your cap now. Yeah. I mean, they're making big bucks. So, and that's just, that goes back to where we are with the Titans. You have the pleasure of picking 1 overall, but it's a dubious distinction because of what had happened the previous season.
Right.
And that's the key to any of this. If you can build quickly around it, you can compete because the young man, the quarterback position in this scenario is on a rookie deal. And that's exactly what Houston has done because they made the trade and immediately got Will Anderson in that same draft when they got Stroud, and they were able to take those funds and picks and things and build the defense up. And that's the reason that there's 3 one-score losses right now, not 3 blowout losses or anything of that nature, because the defense that they've built up around this has been keeping them in ball games.
I thought it was interesting. Nate Tice of Yahoo does a good job with film review and taking a look at things from a numbers perspective, and I think just overall is a good NFL voice. Posted a clip of Jeffrey Simmons on Sunday against the Colts. And it was the run that Daniel Jones had to get away from Jeff and run for a first down. And he said, Jeffrey Simmons is playing at a defensive player of the year level right now. But this pretty neatly sums up the Titans season so far. And it's something really good happens. Jeffrey Simmons breaks through the line. He pushes aside Goncalves, the offensive lineman for the Colts. He's right there and then can't make the play. I think there's this narrative out there, Rhett, that Jeffrey Simmons hasn't lived up to a lot of the expectations we put on him in the offseason. I don't think that's fair because I think Jeff needs someone to meet him at the quarterback for when he forces a guy to get off his spot. Well, who else is there to then corral the quarterback when you push that guy off their spot? And right now, Jeff is getting vertical and getting to the quarterback.
Yes.
I think at an incredible level. And PFF or NFL Pro is actually the one that said he's creating quick pressures 5.6% of the time at second highest rate in the NFL. And how quickly he's getting to the quarterback. I think Jeffrey Simmons is doing his part so far.
Here's what gets lost in Jeff and how well he's played in 2025. Obviously 0-3, that washes it out. Yes, but just where he's at in the middle of all that, he's doing the dirty work. Every play, doing the dirty work. He didn't get a chance to get in a 3-point stance and come around and try to clear somebody.
Jones, right?
He shows up all the time on the film. He absolutely does. But you're right. That kind of speaks to where things are. And, Jeff is doing the work. He's clearly doing the work and affecting things. It's getting it closed out. Now, here's the other thing. I mean, in the clips that were posted yesterday from Denard Wilson, the Titans defensive coordinator, the thing that has to change on Sunday is Titans defense has to tackle better.
Exactly. Yeah. Said he saw 7 missed tackles against the Colts?
Sheesh.
Well, and 5 of them were on one run, that one run from Jonathan Taylor. And he specifically pointed out the safeties as having tackling issues. But that's got to be better because Lord knows Nico Collins, That's a problem.
Yes, it is.
Dalton Schultz, that's the other problem. And, they've got other guys in this. The two rooks that they drafted from Iowa State and the run game and the runners that they have in this, they have to be more sure in tackling. They have to.
I'm with you. It'd be great to get Kevin Winston Jr. back soon as well, because I know he has been trending a little bit closer towards playing, and maybe we're entering a window of time where he can help us as well here at this point.
That would be great because he's a big, long, physical thumper kind of guy. That's his game. And I think it's one of those things where he's getting out of the woods from the injury that he suffered in his last year in college at Penn State. But, I think there's, Ramon, you and your ex-teammates could speak on this better than anything, because I hadn't done anything on the league level at all. But there's a mental part of it you got to get past.
It is.
And trusting your knee, trusting your body, trusting, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different individual to individual.
No doubt.
I think that's part of his coming back. But golly, I would love to see big, long number 23 back there wreaking havoc with some stuff, because the potential is there.
I mean, with one body down right now and Jarvis Brownlee being out, you got to expect, the crazy part about those type of situations is guys who are right-minded see this as a better opportunity for them. That's the part of it to where you see this team is searching for answers of guys who's going to make plays. If you are right-minded about Jarvis Brownlee getting traded inside of that broom, your opportunity is now.
And that is rook, first-year, second-year guy, veteran, whatever, because it's opportunities.
Yes.
I mean, listen, ask Chim DK, ask Elikiah Manor, ask all these young fellas that are playing and getting a lot. I mean, think about how much playing time Jarvis Brownlee had going to the New York Jets. Now, he's going to be behind a log jam of talent there, I think. But yeah, that is correct. Mm-hmm. The right mindset says, okay, I miss my teammate, I miss my guy, but man, let me go into the laboratory and get some stuff. Let's get some people's attention, mainly my coaches.
Mm-hmm. Rhett Bryan joins us in studio Wednesdays at 9 a.m. previewing the upcoming Titans matchup. Titans and Texans this Sunday from NRG Stadium in Houston. Titans radio on the air at 11 a.m. We're looking forward to it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you both. Have a good Wednesday.
Coming up, we wrap up the show. An unfortunate injury headline in college football, how one quarterback's availability affects Tennessee. Coming up next.
It's Ramon and Will here for Volunteer Traditions, man. One of the best apparels you can wear on game day. Heck, any day, Will. I'm talking about to the golf course, to the office. I've even seen shirts in church. Hey, that kind of rhymes right there, man.
Hallelujah.
But I'm here to tell you, anytime you go into a volunteer game, man, I'm telling you, this is who you need to have on.
I've got the pocket tee on today, the old school VOLS, the Rifleman logo, whatever you are looking for your UT apparel, whether you need it to keep you warm, whether you need it to help you stay cool, whether it's outerwear, polos, tees, hats, and more. The throwback logos are fantastic. The material is high quality. Volunteer Traditions. It is what you need in your life to look your best. Started on campus back in 2006, Volunteer Traditions has grown to have the best Vols apparel on the market. Head online, volunteertraditions.com, and grab yours before the next kickoff. Again, that's volunteertraditions.com.
Work. It's what we do. Part of who we are. There is joy in work. And no matter what size your business is, the dedicated commercial team at Two Rivers Ford will find the work trucks and vans that keep your business moving. And Two Rivers is the only dealer that offers a 90-day free fleet management program that can help you save money on every single mile. The Commercial Vehicle Center at Two Rivers Ford. We work for you.
Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up your Wednesday morning. As always, on Thursdays, Coach Mack and Mike Keith tomorrow, Thursday 3 picks. Did you guys see how I lost 2 of my Thursday 3 picks? I'm gonna go on this about a minute. 2 really bad beats. One of them was UT UAB because, God help him, whoever walk-on receiver in the game could not catch a wide-open pass from Jake Merklinger on the next-to-last play of the game. Then Tennessee took a knee. And then the Rams game, they can't cover the plus 4.5 because they get their game-winning field goal attempt blocked. And I'm like, no, just go down. Jordan Davis, just go down. He returns it for a touchdown.
Yeah, he did.
Anyway, this is why Vegas is undefeated. This is why they have a very profitable line of work.
Hey,
those are the breaks.
Those are the breaks. The thing is,
no doubt.
I'm sure Mike Golick Jr. absolutely loved the thick six, though. So I mean,
absolutely. It's large excellence is what that is. Large excellence, as he likes to say.
How did my picks go last week?
You had Utah -3 against Texas Tech. You did have Michigan -2.5 at Nebraska. You hit that by a half point. What was the Georgia Tech Temple final?
You had the Tech themselves scored 45 points.
Okay.
So you had the over or the under 51.5.
So you went 1-2. I went 0-3. Justin, what'd you go?
I went 2-1.
Okay.
Loser.
So we'll give you more picks tomorrow. So Justin is 8 and... No, you're 9-3. I'm 6-6. Ramon is also 6-6. We got a 3-game lead to make up.
I'm doing all right out here.
We're like the rest of the division on the Colts.
Yeah.
Almost. Which is wild. All right. John Mateer is hurt. Thumb surgery underwent for the Oklahoma quarterback and I guess now former Heisman favorite, according to one sports book. Ramon, it appears that he will be back by the time Oklahoma comes to Tennessee on November the 1st. However, a little bit tougher road for Oklahoma. Like at this point, any team that is a playoff contender, Tennessee is cheering against.
Yeah.
Kind of like last year when Tennessee fans were anti-Miami the whole year because they wanted a spot back in the playoff after losing 2 games. It's unfortunate for John Mateer, who's been good.
Mm-hmm.
He's shown flashes of excellence, but not the level of consistency yet that I feel like he's capable of, and now he's going to be out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, that I mean, it's more than problematic for them finding a starter that caliber for that team for how much momentum they have. Bill Connolly said it. They've been very defensive centric, but of course, that's the Coach Venable's team. Like it's supposed to be his compliment needed to be John Mateer. And finding a guy that can run that style of offense and pick it up the way they're about to, I got to check to see what the rest of their schedule is looking like.
Oh, they got Red River in this time span.
In this little stretch right here? Yeah. Talk about a get back, man. Again, they're going to have to lean even more on the defense that's been crushing it, but it's easier when you put pressure on the opposing teams with the offense that you have. Like his ability to run and throw and just to be exciting for them has been a godsend for Coach Venables. Yeah. I'm more than sure. But again, to your point, some people either glad you got your problems or don't want to hear about them. And if the Vols are trying to get into college football playoffs or any other team for that matter, Oklahoma just got knocked because of if they can't survive him being out.
But we'll see when he gets back. Kent State is like playing a high school team. I think Oakland could beat them. The Oakland Patriots, meaning in Murfreesboro. Red River is October 11th. We'll see. See if he's back available for that one. They would go to South Carolina after that for a noon kick against the Gamecocks on the 18th. And then they host Ole Miss. I imagine he's at least back for Ole Miss on October 25th. And then Tennessee's November 1st.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Michael Hawkins, the backup, he was the guy that they benched Jackson Arnold for in the Tennessee game, who showed some flashes, but just wasn't overall consistent. But he was young. He's a freshman.
Yeah.
So. Maybe he's better by this point. We'll see. But as good as their defense is and as bad as Texas looks on offense, I don't know if they really need much from their offense to beat Texas at the moment.
Facts.
Interesting.
But nobody wants that whenever your quarterback is out like that, though, too. I mean, it's that part. Here's a coach that I don't want to necessarily say he needs this because I think his concept of having a good team is there. They pour it in however they needed to with, NIL and everything else that he's been asking. But John Mateer being out, did it happen on a run? Like he hit a helmet?
I don't know. Yeah. Just throwing hand, thumb. We didn't talk much about Bruce Pearl yesterday, announcing his retirement.
Brucey time. Do it, Will. Nepo baby.
The timing of this is very intentional from Bruce Pearl, who says
intentional?
Yeah. Okay. So it's the way to get your son hired as the next guy.
Okay.
I'm excited to ask. Looking forward to talking to Ron Slay about this on Friday on the show when he joins us. I don't know. Maybe Steven would have been the hire even if this had happened in April or May. But it just screams like, oh well, I'm going to put you in a position where you can only hire Steven. Here you go, buddy. Here you go, son. You're the head coach of Auburn now.
The biggest issue is Steven isn't Bruce.
No.
And I know, like, what I mean by this is that, like, to have a motivator and leader and decision maker the way Bruce Pearl is, the relationships he has with the refs, the recruits, the different voices, like, this is basketball. Like, you got to be able to captivate those guys. Like, how are you able to pull a team out of a situation that you've never coached them in? And Auburn's standard for basketball has risen.
Oh, yeah.
It's risen so high.
No, the expectations have been reset there. No doubt.
Who knows? I was in school at the same time as Stephen Pearl was too. He was a cool dude. I mean, but of course, being a cool guy and being a head coach is a little bit of a difference. We're talking about SEC basketball right now, which is proven to be one of the better better conferences in all of college basketball.
No doubt. I mean, it's the best conference in college
I'll put it this way. Can you imagine in a situation where Coach Rick Barnes versus Stephen Pearl?
We're going to see it this year in Knoxville.
The schematics of having to coach against the different stuff he can throw up against you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the timing of it is pretty selfish from Bruce, just on the surface, but maybe there's more to it that I don't know. That is the show. It's your Thursday morning. Buck Rising coming up. Cover 2 of Blaine and Zach. 3HL. I got you covered today. Zone TV, push to 20,000 subscribers, getting a little bit closer. Every day, help us there. The best place to talk Titans. Right here, 104.5 The Zone.
You must remember at all times, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.